Hey.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the OK Show.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, I think, yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. My name is
All right,
Iceman.
good. You got about to the south, Rod Rodriguez, chilling in my love couch.
Are you going through something right now?
Yeah, I'm going through a phase, man.
I just saw your post. I was like, Rod's having coffee and is talking to the camera. I'm like, I was just like passing through. I was like, what the heck? I have a job. I work, so I couldn't stop and listen. But well, what was that about? What was the conversation there? What was the talk about?
No, I was not. There was no conversation. I was talking to myself. I was talking to my. Are you talking about like the thing I posted on my page?
Yeah, I think you had like a sort of live,
No, no,
a
no. That
live
wasn't
event.
live. That wasn't live. That
It
was
wasn't live. You
recorded.
recorded it. All right.
No, no, no. It wasn't live. I don't do like. I'm not like a live guy. Except for like
Right.
when we do the show. Like if I'm on my own, maybe like I'd probably do live. Like I don't know if it's like a special event or something, or if I have anything because it was recorded. I just like I realized that I haven't been sharing anything on that page, and I kind of built up a little audience for that page, and I just neglected it. Even during radio days, I was really bad with putting material there. Like I wasn't putting anything on that page, and I'm like, well, am I just gonna let that page die, or I'm gonna put something there? So I decided, like every morning, because that's like my routine. I have my coffee in the morning. I get my self time done. When I come down here, before the kids wake up and before the wifey gets busy. If I'm fortunate enough to wake up before she does, I come down here, have my coffee, watch my YouTube shows, and play with the guitar for a little bit, and just get that all done, so that when the errands come my way, when responsibility in life, is upon me, then I welcome it with open arms. I'm done with my selfish time. So I decided, all right, so I'll record a short clips. It's probably gonna be like actually I did two already. I did one earlier this morning with Rye because I couldn't do it down here because there's a little bit of construction going on outside, and the construction guys already showed up. So they were
Right.
hammering away, and I said I'll do it upstairs. So I did it. So basically that's
Okay.
it. It's
Is it the
it's,
new
it's
pool?
there is no new pool, man. There's
The no new
the
pool.
neighborhood
What's the
already. The,
construction
na-
about?
the neighborhood already has a pool. It's just a
All
little
right.
kitchen
Well,
extension thing. It's for the wifey. It's for the wifey. I
wow.
don't have to
See, business
broadcast
is
it. I mean,
good. Business is
yeah.
good.
It's
It's growing.
I'm not a typical Filipino man. Like I don't announce everything I do on Facebook.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. You just go on
Yeah,
live
I'm not.
and
I'm not. I'm not a typical Filipino man. It's like no, 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 because they
wow, a
showed
bigger
up and
kitchen. Bigger kitchen means more orders, and that means more money for the wifey, but more work, of course.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Well,
that's a good thing.
we're hoping it's gonna result in more orders, but she certainly can accommodate more. But at the end of the day, it's still just her. But then again, if she decides to hire a helping hand, we're not letting that person in the house. Considering it's COVID and everything, it's kind of like outside the house because it's an extension. So it's a
Right.
separate. It's not the kitchen. You've been in the house, right? And you've seen how small
Mhm.
the space we have here. So
Right.
it's really needed, and
Right.
it's a long time coming. But anyways, yeah,
See, you're a
they were here.
capitalist now. You're a capitalist.
No, I'm an unemployed guy who really has no choice.
No, you're not. You're
Yeah, an
making a
employee.
bigger kitchen. That means more money coming in, and you need to hire people. In the
Nah, man, that's
beginning, one
beyond.
person, then you might need
Yeah,
two, then three, then you might purchase a bigger lot to make a bigger building,
that that's the dream, dude. But
right?
that's the
See,
dream. That's the
Chuck
dream.
was right. Chuck was right the whole time. You were
Yeah,
like,
it's
what
it's all
kind of
about
business should I start? Are you
it's all about
crazy?
my wife.
You already
That
have
was
a
right. It's
business.
all about my wife.
No, dude, it's your business. It's not just her business. I mean, she wouldn't be able to do it if you do not support her. And you're there supporting
Yeah,
her. You look after
yeah.
the kids, you take
I'll
Raj
take
to
whatever credit I
school,
can get. I'll take whatever
right? I
credit I
mean, it's
can
a
get. So
teamwork.
keep it coming. Keep it coming. Come on.
Yeah, it's teamwork. That's what you call teamwork. It's a
Yeah, it is.
business.
It is.
Marriage is like
Yeah,
business.
tell that to her after she's baked the whole day and she's like, I'm just sitting here on the couch.
Okay. Right. Wait a minute. 5 minutes.
That's
I'm
teamwork, right?
winning. I'm winning.
No, but kidding aside, it's yeah. So basically that thing that I was doing, that video thing that I was doing, it's nothing new. I mean, I did a podcast before that required more time, and I was like, man, this and that one, the one I just like did. Actually, I checked my videos on that page. I'm like, man, I did a lot of videos. I actually even recorded my podcast recordings. I did not know. I totally forgot. So I actually have a buttload of like 1 hour long videos that I posted, and it's still there on that page. And I'm like, who's gonna sit you know, in front of their who's going to be on their phone on Facebook watching a guy doing a podcast for an hour or 2 hours? But I posted them, so I decided, okay, I'm going to make it like 10 minutes because like that was the thing that we were kind of talking about. Like if you're going to do video, don't make it too long. So I said, okay, I'm going to do 10 minutes. I have that window every morning. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to be religious about it. Like every morning, every 10 minutes, and it's just going to be on that page. Like I'm not going to share it on my personal page. It's just going to be on that that Rodriguez thing. So it's just basically the people who probably knew me from radio, and they're like, oh, that guy's still alive, so
Right.
yeah.
Talking about
Yeah.
radio, we need to rethink the first episode that we just posted. But well, it's not really, it's not really out yet. Well, we already posted it, but we haven't really promoted it. So Reese has a suggestion that we should think about our first and second episode, and like post a different I mean, post a different episode for the first and second episode. So we might
Mm.
probably have to like delete it for a while, then just upload it in the future. The first one that we did, because I think her
Okay.
ideas like it really
just
fits. I think it's
just the
perfect
first one.
for
Just the
the
first
first
one.
first and second, because
Okay.
I think she's yeah, I
Like a
agree with her.
different
So
theme. Like a different
no,
theme
it's
altogether.
because we just jumped into the like the Philippine thing and whatnot, but then she suggested that maybe we should talk about who we are and how the podcast came to be, what's our background, how we met and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting. So
That's
the
true.
first timers who would be listening to us would probably
Well, what we can do
put
is we can
one
record
in.
that episode, delete the two, and then upload the new one, and then upload those two again, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're not gonna. We're
Right.
just gonna delete
So
it.
it's like
Just
basically
but
just
then we're gonna
reordering
upload
it,
it again.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
reordering
Restructuring
it.
it.
So
Yeah,
first
yeah,
and second episode, we have to re-record it. I hope Pinky would be available to record at least the first episode. I think the three of us should be in the first episode.
yes, yes. I agree. I agree.
I tried to call her last night, and she was like, "Oh, I'm brushing my teeth." She has issues. She doesn't want to talk to people, not even
No, no.
me.
She was asking. She was asking on the chat that she was like,
Yeah, she
what
did. But
time
I
is the
tried to call
thing?
her because I know you weren't online. So when she replied to my message, I tried to call her to explain it to her. But she was like, "Oh, I'm brushing my teeth." No, you're not. You don't want to talk to people. What's wrong
Yes,
with
I
you?
am. Yes, I am now. I am now.
Anyway, all right,
Yeah,
tonight,
well, she can do whatever it is that she wants to do, man. Come on, you know.
right. But
She
tonight we're
brushes her
talking
teeth. Pinky
about.
has nice teeth. Yeah, what are we
She
talking about?
does. She
Superstition.
does. Oh, Filipino superstitions. That doesn't make any sense to you. I mean, superstitions, they really don't
That's
make
like
any
90.
sense. But
That's like 99.9% of the
yeah,
superstitions, man.
right. But
None of
I
them make
mean,
sense.
okay,
Is
we
there a
should.
superstition to you? Is there a
All right,
superstition
we
to you
should
that
edit
makes
it. All
sense?
right, this is stupid. All right,
No, 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 no,
let's
no.
just talk
Come on,
about
no, no, no. Don't edit it
Filipino superstitions. All right, no, because yeah, I mean, they don't really make sense. I was
because
thinking
some
that
of
when I
them
was
might.
typing it.
Some of them might. Some of them might.
All right,
I mean, I
okay,
know people who believe in these things and like religiously. Like I told you, I was in the States and I was
okay.
still saying tabi tabi po when I peed outdoors.
Hmm.
So hey,
Okay, we have people joining us tonight. Christian J. Carriedo Havilona. That's CJ. Sorry. We have Gabby
Julius.
and Julius J. That's JJ Balbori
None
Bautista.
of them makes
That's
sense.
JJBB. Wow, your initials. Really cool. None of them make sense. Yeah, you're right. That's why I told Rod that I should edit it. But just like, well, you never know. Some people might think it makes sense.
That's true.
Anyway, okay, Filipino superstitions. All right, let's go to our number one list. The number of steps of staircases at home should not be divisible by three. Why? 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 The number of
Okay, hold
steps of
on.
staircases at home should not be
Can,
divisible by three. Who
is
cares?
this exclusive to Filipinos only, or can it be like superstitions that we inherited? Like there are some
This is
super like
probably
ours is a
okay.
mixed
Okay.
bag. Like there are some superstitions that
Yeah, yeah. I
that
mean,
we
the
acquired from
Philippines is a
other
country with a
cultures.
long history of colonization, right?
Yeah.
Strongly influencing its culture and traditions. So that means this impact extends well beyond language and food and into the many superstitions that local take, like we take to the heart. So it's kind of like, yeah, it doesn't, it probably doesn't mean that it's actually ours, but, it's been passed on from the different colonizers that we had. So, well, who cares? All right. Yeah. So here's I found this on the internet and it says that I never heard of this. Have you heard of this?
What is it?
Staircases at home. The number of steps
No,
of
I
staircases at home should not be divisible
yeah.
by three. Have you? Did
I
you
didn't. I
count your
know.
staircases? The number of
I
steps
know.
in your
No,
old
no,
house?
no. I know there's I know there's something about staircases, but the deeper you delve into that stuff, man, the more you kind of like start rethinking your situation. Like if you did not know about that stuff, you wouldn't even be counting the stairs. But then once you hear about it and you start believing in it, and then you start counting the steps, and then you get affected. And maybe the bad aura or maybe that negative thought is going to start to affect you, and you're going to
Okay.
end up
So, what are you
tripping and falling on the
suggesting
stairs.
that we should not talk about these things tonight?
Okay,
'Cause, I mean,
sometimes ignorance is bliss.
all
That's the
right.
thing.
So, all right.
It's
So
sometimes you
let's
don't have to know what's on the messenger of your
right.
significant other. You know
Let's
what I'm
change the
saying?
topic then, because everybody's scared to delve into it. What do you
Oh,
think?
that particular one, I kind of heard about it, but I don't know about it in detail, and I
All
don't
right.
want to know about it in detail. But since you already mentioned it, I'm not gonna count the steps in my house. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna let that bother me, man, because we haven't had this house like feng shui or whatever, but it's not supposed to be divisible by three, right? I mean, I'm bad enough at math as it is, and now I have to count the steps in my house. I mean, I know it's not a lot, but I mean, it's still that's still math. Anything math for me is bad luck.
I think that has something to do with your OCD as well. I mean, if you have a bad case of OCD, that thing would go with your OCD, like superstition and your obsessive compulsive disorder. Like you would
Yes,
probably
yes,
have compulsions because of
I have that.
um yeah, all right.
That's the
So
problem.
okay.
I have it.
Anyway, all right.
So
So that's one of the things that listed here. Turn your plate when someone leaves in the middle of a meal. I've never
okay,
done this.
although let's go back to
Turn
the
your
stairs.
plate.
Like, what happens? What happens if
All right, okay.
your steps are not divisible by three? You
All
fall
right,
down the
okay.
stairs, or
It says here that enter a Filipino household with a staircase and begin chanting oro, which is gold. Plata means silver. Mata is death. Take one step up with each word. Most likely, upon reaching the top step, the chant will end with either oro or plata. This is because many Filipinos will go to great lengths to avoid ending in mata, which denotes bad luck. The two preceding words, on the other hand, obviously denote good fortune. See, it doesn't make sense. Why not make it all right? So change the order. Oro, plata, mata. Why don't you change it to mata, plata, oro? You can change the
yeah,
order,
yeah, you
right?
can always fight the system. Fight the
Yeah,
system.
fight the system. I mean, who says that it has to start with oro and ends with mata,
Correct.
right? So you count
I
your
think
staircase
you
steps.
know who said it. I think it was
Who?
probably like Lino Broca or something. Is that like a
Yeah,
movie?
somebody,
That's like a
somebody who
movie,
just
right?
like,
That's a
yeah,
movie
somebody
title.
started it. Somebody started it and
Okay, hold
passed it
on.
on to someone, and
Okay, Jepoy
next thing
has
you
a
know, everybody's
contribution.
all right. Okay, what's
He
this?
said, "If you don't have money, that's bad luck.
Yes, if you don't have money, that's definitely a bad luck. Of
Malas yan,
course.
malas."
Yan, malas talaga yan. Bawal yan ha, bawal yan. Bawal ang
All
walang
right.
pera.
Anyways,
Alain Joseph
bawal naman.
Porio, he was asking about the show. Yes, he's Shiburi. No, it's not. It's only a week, man. And I told you, we are on Spotify already. So we're cool. And I've
Yeah.
already submitted our profile to Google Podcasts.
What
So
are you
I think
doing?
we'll be fine. I have to check the
I thought
email
you.
later. But anyway, all right.
Yeah.
So yeah, why not just like change the order? It doesn't have to, I mean, you count it, and if it ends in mata, then change the order. Put mata in the, in the beginning, then you end with gold, then then voila, you have gold as your last step,
Or
right?
just resist the urge to believe in it. Like just like
Yeah,
ignore it.
that's the thing. Yeah,
Like
just
my
don't
last
count it.
ride did.
Don't count
I'm
it.
like,
Don't yeah. And the people who are listening right now who has OCD, they would
see,
start doing it. They would
we're
start
putting ideas in people's heads
do
now.
not
See, we're
whatever
see
you
that's the
do,
thing.
do not do it. All right. Do not count your staircase and do not even try doing it and start chanting oro, plata, mata, or like don't do it.
That's true.
Do not do it.
That's true.
Okay, I find good
That's
luck
true.
charms being sold in malls funny because they will sell you something that would attract money into your life, but you need to shell out money first so you can bring home that good luck charm
Yeah.
that's supposed to bring
Yeah.
you money. Well, you know what they
That's
say,
true.
you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah. Speaking of luck, I think Efren Batareas has a famous quote regarding that. And I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not originally
What's
from
the
him,
code?
but he said the more he practiced, the luckier he got. You know?
The more he practiced, the luckier he got. Wow,
Yeah.
it makes sense. The more you practice, the better you become. Of course. Lucky my ass.
Yeah. You're improving. Basically, saying is you're improving the odds you're improving your luck basically by practicing. Like if you don't practice, then luck is against you. So it's kind of like the more you bet on the lottery or on lotto, the bigger the chance of you winning. But that doesn't usually that's not usually the case, right? Because I mean, but practice is different. Practice is like you're improving your skills. So yeah, you improve your chances of getting lucky. I think because you're having more options of um of winning whatever it is that you're competing for or who you're going against. Like Pacquiao, I mean, if he practices more, then well, not anymore. He just retired, but anyway, yeah. If that kind of made sense. I mean, it's luck still plays a role in it. I mean, especially with a lot of different sports. I mean, luck still plays a role in it. I mean, even if you're Steph Curry,
That's
you can still
that's
miss your
funny.
shot,
The
right?
more I practice, the luckier I became.
The luckier
I
I got.
become.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just kind of like stupid. I'm like, yeah, the more you practice, the better you become. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's luck. That's your skill.
You're improving
Better,
your chances of,
yeah, you're improving your odds in making those shots
you're
and
improving
making
your odds.
those,
Yeah, which is like I
yeah,
guess that's what he's saying.
and
Like
winning those
luck is on your
matches and
side.
whatnot.
Yeah. Is luck like okay, I guess you're right. You're right. Because luck is different from odds, right? Luck is
Right,
like totally by chance. It has nothing to do with your skill, has nothing to do with anything
right,
else except just
yes,
the ball falling in the hole. You know what I'm saying? It's like
right,
it has
right,
nothing to do with who you are. Like
exactly.
if I beat Efren Batareas, it's by luck. If he beats me, it's
That's
by
yeah,
skill, right?
yes.
Right. So that's kind of like it. It's kind of like
Yeah,
it.
he can't
All
say
right.
that. Oh, I practice a lot, so I got lucky
I
with
got
Rod.
lucky.
I beat him. that that doesn't
But
make sense.
there's luck is still involved though. You can't take away that equation because it's not always a sure thing that the ball is going to go in. Like I said, even Steph Curry can miss a shot. Even Steph Curry, if he hits a certain part of the rim,
Dude,
it
I
could
would,
still
I
bounce
would, I
out.
would. You know what? If we are in a
You'd bet
team,
on Steph
I,
Curry over
I would feel better if he takes the last shot than you taking the
because
last
the
shot.
luck is increased. Exactly what Bata said, right? Because the luck is high.
That's not luck. That's skill. You know that most likely it will go in because it's
Yes, but
him.
it's still
Because he
not a
makes no shot.
guarantee. He can still
Right.
miss. It's still not like you know what I'm saying? He
So
can
so what
still
you're
miss.
saying is so what you're saying is if it goes in, that's luck. So when Michael Jordan made that last shot, that famous last shot in 1998, that was luck. He
Well,
was
it played
lucky.
a role. It played a role because I've seen a lot of winning shots from great players that rimmed out. And what are you going to say? They're less skilled? Probably not. It's just that th- that's just I think it played a role. I mean, but the fact that he practiced and he's very skillful, he didn't rely on luck as much. Luck was like it was more on his side than it would be on someone like me. But if my shot went in, then that would
So
be
you're
100.
saying that we should practice more so that we can be more lucky, rather than
Yes.
let's practice more so that we can be more skilled.
Because you can't guarantee a shot, there always there are factors beyond your control, and that's where
Dude,
luck
I
comes
think
in.
Michael Jordan will tell you, I can guarantee a shot. I think Steph Curry will tell
Yeah,
you, Rod, I guarantee you a shot. Give me the ball,
yeah,
I
but
will guarantee you a shot.
yeah, but that's seen the
There's an
miss.
off
It
chance that he
happens. It
might
happens.
miss,
It
but more
happens.
often than not, I think it's gonna go in.
It's not a shoo-in. Yeah, more often than not, if you look at the odds and the percentage. But you see, I don't think there's a 100% three-point shooter in the NBA right now. So there's still that percentage of
I don't
them
think
missing their shots.
there's a 100% 3-point shooter ever in the history of the NBA or in the
There you
history of
go.
basketball.
Well, there you go.
But it
So
has nothing to do with
there
luck.
you go.
It's still
I mean,
skills.
if you're saying it's all about skill, then somebody should be hitting all their shots,
See,
right? So what I'm
here's the
saying
thing,
is
people.
there's
Here's the thing. This is what Rod's doing. He's baiting me. He's a bully. He's baiting you. He's
I'm
baiting
not.
you. That's what he
I'm,
does.
I'm
He's
the
in his
devil's
couch right
advocate. I'm
now.
like
He's
I'm
probably
throwing in
going through
something
something
else.
right now. That's why he's in his couch. And he's kind of like, all right, I'm just going to bullet people tonight. I'm just going to bait people.
No, but I mean, but think about it, right? It makes sense. Like I said, there's always something like, you
I mean,
know,
superstitions don't make sense, but what you're saying right
it's
now, it doesn't really make sense.
it still plays a role. Like for example,
Are you really
if
sure that Bataraya said that? Or are you making it up?
no,
I
no,
have not heard
I
that
don't,
quote. I have
dude,
not heard that quote.
dude, we never, I never said it was for the record, right? And I never said that, I'm quoting him directly. I read it somewhere. Now, the,
You read
but
it
I wouldn't be
somewhere.
surprised
What,
if
from a
I would be,
magazine, a comics?
dude. When people, okay, what about people who watch our show and they hear it from us? They would say, "I heard it from Rod and Iceman." I mean,
Yeah, that
that's
doesn't make it real or true.
yeah,
I mean,
but
is
see,
it true?
most information is either secondhand or third hand, right? Most information, even the
See,
information you get from
all
CNN,
right.
that's
So this
second
is
hand or third
where
hand. Do
here's
you
where we're
believe
now.
CNN? Right?
Here's where we're now. Here's where we're now. We started out with the staircase. Then I don't know how we ended up with Batareas, and now we're talking about news not being real because everything is second hand, third hand, fourth hand. We don't know, so nothing is really real because we don't know
Exactly.
if
Dude, you asked me where I got the information from. So I'm not gonna like 100% say unless I heard it from the horse's mouth. So come on.
so.
Batareas.
It's
When
either
was the
you
last
read
time
it
you see
somewhere or you heard it somewhere. Is that what
I
it
read it
is?
somewhere. I read it. I read it. I read it. I didn't hear it. I read it.
All right,
Richard says
Richard.
luck is probably just statistics or probability. But we are just too dumb to apply math in order to explain why random stuff happened. Look. Um, can it be? You think it can be computed? Like, can you actually calculate luck? In terms of like the odds of you, well, then it's not going to be luck. The odds of you,
Mathematicians can do that
right?
because mathematicians they do
Yeah.
not believe in luck. Probability,
No, they
yes,
don't. They don't. Yeah,
right?
probably these guys
So that's
don't.
why I was
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
that the more you practice, the more skilled you become, and that
But
would
luck
increase your
still plays a
chance.
role.
See, he would insist on luck. Oh my
Okay,
god! All right,
think
okay.
about it. Okay, okay. Well, what if at that exact time? I mean that. Okay, let's say his skill served him well, and that ball was going to go in that freaking ring, but all of a sudden his
Okay, you
skill
know
bit
what
him,
luck is?
or all
Okay,
of a
because that's
sudden like you
sport.
saw his X or something, and like you twitched. Something can happen. Okay, what? How would you explain like that instance or that phenomenon? How
But what's the
that's like
probability of that happening? What's the probability? That's the question. What's the
exactly. That's
probability
why
of
luck
Steph
comes
Curry's
in.
ex, showing up
Showing up
at the
and
ball
screwing
game?
up his people.
Right. And considering that she's the ex, she's probably somewhere really far. She couldn't be at the
Okay,
ringside or
so
something.
let's say these scientist guys or these mathematician guys are able to determine the odds of the probability of the X showing up. Now they have to compute the probability of Stephen Curry looking in that particular direction while making that shot.
Exactly,
I mean, there's
right?
like thousands of people in the arena, right?
So
What's
exactly.
so it's luck. In that
What do
case,
you mean
bad
luck?
luck.
That's a normal thing for Steph to do. Just shoot the ball,
Yeah, it is. It
sink
is.
in 3 pointers.
Like I said, he's
That's
not
a
a
normal thing for
100%
him,
3-point shooter, so he still
right?
missed. All right. Anyway, move on.
You know
Let's move on
what?
to the next one.
You know what
It's
luck
not
is?
gonna
All right.
end. Okay, go. Go.
You know what
What's
luck
luck?
is?
What's luck?
Luck is, for
An
example, in my
excuse?
case. No, no, no. Luck in my case, that has nothing to do with, like a sport. Sport is something that you can practice,
Yeah.
right? If you're into
Yeah.
tennis, you
Yeah.
can
You
practice
can develop.
tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can be this really skillful tennis player if you just practice a lot. If you're into
Yes. Yes.
basketball, you just practice as hard as Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, then most likely you can be very skillful. So it has, to me, it has nothing to do with luck. Luck
Got it.
is when I had that accident when I played basketball and got hit in the face, and I didn't really rested. And what I did was I just started doing things, working out, lifting heavy stuff. Then I did kendo as well. So I never took it easy and whatnot. So I had a hematoma in my brain. And I didn't know that it was already a hematoma because I was really stupid. Right. And
Yeah.
I just, played it out, just didn't go to the doctor. My head has been aching for 3 weeks. Then finally, I couldn't stand it any longer, and because I vomited, I threw up. So I decided to go to the doctor. And on that day, it fell on a Tuesday, and I didn't know which hospital to go. Then I picked this particular hospital. I've never been there ever, but
Hmm.
then luckily
It
I
was a
talked to
random
somebody.
choice,
Yeah, it was a
or
random
so it was
choice.
a
No, somebody was like,
suggestion. Okay.
"Oh, there's another hospital right there in somewhere in Hiromi, and it's called Fujikake. Maybe you can go there." Because I went to a different hospital, right after that accident. It was a different
Hmm.
hospital. They took a CT scan, a CAT scan, and it was clear. So I was like, I didn't want to go back there because it was. I think I couldn't go back there as well because it was already past 5 and they're already closed. And I think my sister-in-law told me that that particular hospital is open till 7 p.m. So I said, all right, let's go there. So I waited for my wife to come home. And then when she showed up, we went directly to the hospital. And it was on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday. And when I had my scan, and I didn't want to have my scan, I was arguing with the doctor. I was like, well, I already had my scan last month and it was clear. So I don't think I need to take another scan. But then the doctor was insistent, and and he told my wife that I should take another CT scan. So I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll do it. So we did. And then when I got back to the examination room, he was like, you have got to be kidding me. It's a good thing that you took the scan
No kidding.
because there's something on your head. You're bleeding.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I'm going to refer you to our neurologist, a neurosurgeon, who's only there on Tuesdays. He's,
Hmm.
he's, he's only there on Tuesdays. So when I went to his clinic, and he was in there and he was talking to me. He's Japanese. And he asked me, can you speak Japanese? I said, no, I can't speak Japanese. And I was like, I have my interpreter. My wife can't speak Japanese. And he was like, can you speak English? I was like, yeah, I can speak English. Little did I know that that doctor had a medical license in America because he stayed in America. So
Yeah.
we could communicate just,
In
we
English.
could communicate normally in English.
Yeah.
And he was like, why don't you come to, I can refer you to Tajimi, which is closer, or do you want to come to Nagoya, which, where I work, and I can operate on you? And I was like, well, I'll go to your clinic. I don't care if it's far, but it's better that I can talk to my doctor and I would know things. And I was like, all right, I'll write a letter, a recommendation letter, or a reference letter. That's what he said. I'll write. And he was like, he was a funny guy. I was like, all right, I'll write a letter from me to me. I was like, okay. Like, he was like basically writing this to me. So when I get this
Yeah.
tomorrow, I can like operate on you and whatnot. And then I got there and he gave me English speaking nurses at that particular hospital. So that was purely luck. And he was like, and it was okay. When can you have the surgery? And I said, can I have it in a week? He said, are you kidding me? No, you have to have it immediately. If we can have it now, we should, but we can't. So let's do it tomorrow. So I
Yeah.
mean, right? That was luck. I could have
Yeah.
died,
But
man. That was a ticking
spiritual
time bomb right
people,
there.
spiritual people would be like, that's not luck. That's destiny. It was
See
meant to
this guy.
be.
This
That
guy.
was meant to
This guy.
be.
This is not going to end. All right. So, okay, let's go to another superstition.
It's not
Turn
gonna
your
end.
plate. Turn your plate when someone leaves in the middle of a meal. What? I have never done this. Have
Okay.
you ever done this?
Every time. every time we mention a superstition, you have to like you have to declare if you practice it at home growing up, experienced it, or still do it. All right. If you don't, then
Mhm.
like us, we don't, so we don't. But
All
I know
right. So
people
me,
who
no,
do.
I
Like
have
I've seen
not done it
people do
ever.
that stuff. No,
Really?
I've never done it too. I've never done
All
it too.
right.
I was also told like about stacking, like stacking
Mm-hmm.
plates or something. Like you're not supposed to like clean up until everyone's done or something. I don't know, there's something like that too. Um, Not so much the turning the plate thing, like you're saying, but I remember uh like cleaning up and the people were not done yet, and it's like something to do with luck as well. Like if you try to get somebody's plate and they're not done yet, something like that.
There
Um,
was this
but
one
what about
thing that I experienced about plates and whatnot. I was eating, and there's still something on my plate, but then I stack it up with another, like on another plate, and it was like, no, no, don't do that, because if you do that, you might end up having an affair or something, or you might have a third party and whatnot. And I was like, what? Then I should be doing this a lot, like more,
if you what if you
like if you still have food on your plate, then you stack it on like like a different plate, right? So when you're eating and there's like another
yeah
plate, then you stack it on that
yeah
plate. So that means like it's on top of
yeah
you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
a plate.
You can
So
have like multiple
and
relationships.
something like that. So I was like, oh, maybe I should do it more often, right?
Yeah.
That means more
Well,
chicks for
sure.
you.
I mean,
But
if
anyway, I don't know what's the story with this turn your plate when someone leaves in the middle of the meal. Okay, when sitting at the dining table for a meal and someone gets up to leave before the rest of the group finishes, everybody left at table should turn their plates to ensure safe travels for the person leaving.
oh
What
my
if you
god.
hate the other person? What if you hate him or if you hate
I mean,
her?
I just want to. You know
Right?
what? Here's the thing. I just want to eat, man. I don't have to worry about what to do with my plate
Exactly,
afterwards.
right?
It's too
Another
much
meal
work.
superstition. All right, okay, that's too much work, right?
It's too
Well,
much work.
if you want to
Too much work.
leave, then let him leave. Who cares?
I
Go
know.
home.
I know.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Die. Die. I'm kidding. I'm
So
kidding.
we fill up enough forms already when we go to the airport or we have to process government papers. And we do have to do that stuff at home too. I mean, that's the thing. It's like people and people's lives are controlled, you know, for many years by superstitions, and even up to this day, people still fall for that stuff. And you can't really knock on that because some people just like they believe in it with all their might. I mean, they were raised in a family that's very traditional or just conservative. For all we know, these were just made up by the grandparents just to sort of
True. True.
control the kids or the younger folks at home because of.
These are all made
But
up. These
yeah,
are all
but
made
like the
up.
throwing the salt on the shoulder, that's universal. I hear that even in the States, people talk about that. Like you throw salt over the shoulder or something. Um, I hear that in the States. In the US, what are other superstitions in the US? Well, obviously, the number 13, and I think in Japan, right? They don't the number 4 is bad luck. I mean, I'm just mentioning, superstitions of other countries. I don't know if they're applicable to the Philippines too, but do we have a 13th floor here? Because I know like most hotels worldwide don't have a 13th floor. I really sometimes I forget to check. Like I've been to other countries and we stay in hotels on vacation, and I forget to check if there's a 13th floor. But here in the Philippines, it's kind of hard to do because I don't know if there's a do we even have a building here in Davao that has a 13th floor?
I
I mean, does it
heard
even go
that.
that
I
high?
heard that Marco Polo didn't have a 13. I
Yeah,
heard
because
that before.
I mean, how high was Marco Polo? I mean, how high did it get up to? Like how many floors? Probably 12
Yeah.
only.
Probably. That's why they didn't
Probably.
have a 13. I heard Marco Polo didn't have a 13th floor. Yeah, because it's up to 12th floor, you dummy. Well,
That's
I
what I
don't
was
know.
saying. That's what I was saying. I was like thinking like maybe Davao doesn't have a building that goes higher than 13th or than 12 floors, but I don't know. I mean, bl- like like I said, like you're in Japan, you have buildings there that's like probably like 50 floors or something. Like I went to I go to Hong Kong. I've been to Hong Kong for vacations. I go to Hong Kong and I forget to check the hotels. We stayed at a hotel that had like how many floors? We stayed in the
Because it doesn't
27th
make
floor,
any
if I'm,
sense.
but I forgot
Because
to
there's
check if
no
there's a
truth
13th
to
floor.
it. So that's why you don't even check it.
But no, no. But I think I'm
Right.
gonna Google it. Do hotels have 13 floors or do hotels not have? Okay. Do hotels have
Okay, Jong
13
is tuned in
floors?
and he's saying that black cat crossing your path
You'll
is bad
never
luck.
see the 13th floor of a hotel.
What?
It says, according to travelandleisure.com, you'll never see the 13th floor of a hotel.
All right.
Uh, a survey a survey by City Realty found that out of 629 condominiums listed, buildings listed with 13 or more floors, only 55 labeled the 13th floor as the 13th floor. So out of 629, only 55. So it's there's still some that have it, but not, very few. So what's up with the superstition, man? I mean, if hotel operators
I don't
believe in this
know.
stuff, right? That I
Okay,
mean,
because it doesn't make sense. Like, even if you do not call it 13th floor, fact of the matter is, it's the 13th floor. You can't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. You can't do that. 13 has to come before the 14. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, yeah,
even
yeah, yeah, but
if you don't label it 13, doesn't change the fact that it's
yeah,
the
but it's the
13th floor.
14th. Basically, the 14th is the 13th floor. That's basically it.
Yeah, so it's basically the same thing. You're just
Yeah, but they just don't
convincing
put 13
yourself
on
that
it.
it's what?
They just don't put 13 on it just so people
It's
like
the
won't
same
see the
thing.
number. It's like
Even if they
because
don't,
like
it's still 13,
it is
right?
the
So that's
13
what I'm saying.
technically.
It's
Yeah.
useless. It's technically 13.
Yes.
It is 13. All right, okay. Going back to Jong, black cat crossing your path is bad luck. Okay, black cat crossing your path is bad luck. Dere. Bad luck for the cat. Probably. Especially if
Get
the
run
guy's
over
drunk.
because
Yeah,
you'll get run
gonna get
over.
run over. Black cat day ka, ha? Pshing.
Most Filipinos attended a class of John Kreese, Cobra Kai. No
Well, most
mercy.
no mercy. No mercy. Pshing.
Filipinos have no
Patay
mercy.
kang pusa ka. All right, that's what's gonna happen. Anyway, here's another one. Don't go straight home after attending a wake. Yeah, we talked about this last time.
Yeah, I know that.
This
I know
superstition
that.
is called pagpag, the shaking off of dirt. In the context
I
of
did
a
not
wake,
know.
it
I did
means
not
going
know that.
elsewhere after attending the wake before heading home to shake off the spirit of the deceased, lest it follows you home. My
Yeah,
dad
my
hated
friends
this.
introduced me to that. The Bakaka Boys
Yeah, yeah,
introduced
yeah,
me to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think with one of I attended I went to a wake with and I was with the Bakaka Boys, probably our neighbor from my old neighborhood, and and they were like, okay, so let's all go home, and they're like, no, 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 let's find a place to. So we went to I think Barbecue Boss or some bar or something, and we were drinking, and I thought we went there because we were gonna drink. And then later I found out that we didn't actually have to do it. Like but we had to because of the pagpag thing. Like we didn't really go there because we intentionally wanted to. We were supposed to go drinking. I thought we were like, okay, so we're here because we're drinking, but no, we needed to pass by there and before we head home. But that could have just been an excuse to drink. I mean, remember I was with the Makaka boys.
Okay, so if this is true, don't you think that these places are full of bad luck? Like all these coffee shops, all
Like
these
where you head off
bars.
to before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, all
usually
people who practice this
usually
would
it's like a
like go to
7-Eleven,
places
right?
and just do the pug pug there. Then all the bad luck
I know
stays there.
that's kind of inconsiderate of you, right?
Right?
It's like,
Too selfish.
right? It's basically like what you're saying is like you have mud on your feet, so you don't want your house to get mudded, so you leave the mud marks, the mud tracks in
Somewhere
another
else.
establishment or another place. Yeah. I mean, you know.
Stupid.
Like okay, what about like me? I don't I know I never bring like stuff from a wake. Like there's shopao, like, as much as possible. Like I have friends
I
who
heard
bring
that.
it
I
home,
heard that you
who
should
bring it
not
home
bring home
without.
any food from a wake or from a burial, you know.
It jokes like,
But
what's the point of pagpag confused bad karma?
I
Like,
know, right?
what? Like this is not my. Okay, let's pretend 7-Eleven is my house. So like, I mean, come on. Just like how many of you will went there? You can't be all at one place. You can't be all of these places at one time, right?
All
Bad
right.
karma's got to
So
pick out
that
the ones
means
that deserve it.
yes, yes. So it just means it would mean that because all people are doing this, like at least for those who believe it, all the coffee shops, all the bars, all the whatever in in the vow or wherever it is full of bad luck
Bad
because
karma.
all yeah because they're just like all right let's just like drop all the bad karma here. All right, so right, so
Yeah, we started that. I mean that's the
coffee
thing. It's like
shops,
you
businessmen,
know, we
people have
started it.
businesses.
We
Yeah, they
started
started it.
it.
Who?
Husbands we want to have an excuse to go out drinking with their friends and not go home right away. You know,
Dude, women, they love doing it
babe,
too
babe,
because
babe. Kailangan ko pa
they can have an excuse
magpagpag
to stay
eh. Hindi pwedeng
longer.
umuwi agad,
Go
you
to
know?
coffee shops and do chismes.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, hey, that's probably it. It's kind of like a superstition that's like functional. It's a functional superstition. Especially if you don't want to go home right away and you have an excuse. Because like think about it, right? Like if a husband is like under desire and the wife is like super controlling in it, or I don't want to sound sexist here. So it could be the other way around. And the husband is super controlling. Obviously if it's like the wake of a dear friend or somebody close to your significant other, you can't really stop them from attending it, right?
All right.
So then they go there,
But
but then you're
mhm.
like, you better to come home right away. But then they have an excuse to not come home right away because they can like say, oh, we have to go someplace else to pagpag. And, so yeah. Or maybe even kids will do that, like the teenagers or the young ones, like they don't go home right away. Ma, pa, daan pa kami ng ano kasi, yung may
That's
pagpag.
total bullshit because you know why? When I was in high school, I used to just make it
Yeah,
as an excuse to go to funerals or lamais because I have nowhere else to go. So I had a friend. Um, we did it together. We just ran out of places to go and things to do. Someone's grandfather or grandmother died, so we just like, all right, we'll stay with you. We'll mourn with you, whatever. But we just basically wanted to like stay there. So there were nights that we would just like be there and we would sleep there. It's not like
it is.
we're
You
up
were
all night.
mourning.
We would,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we just yeah stay
I
up
mean, come
until
on.
like what 2 3 and we would like sleep there.
People,
Then we would go straight home. So see,
yep. So it didn't
nothing
matter.
happens. It didn't matter.
Well, your electricity got cut off eventually, right?
Or well, yeah,
Your dad lost his job. But I mean, think about it. Think about it,
dude,
right?
we
Like,
can't blame things on
th-
these
that's
superstition
true.
every
That's
time something
true.
bad happens.
See, you know
Bad
what?
things
You know how
happen
these things,
regardless
how these things came to be, how a superstition came into fruition, how they come to be, right? How they
because
start to
of
exist.
obsessive compulsive
Coincidence.
people.
No, it's coincidence too. It's like somebody's thinking this might happen if I do this, and then he did it, and then by coincidence it happened, right? Like I remember seeing an episode way back when I was younger. We always talk about these old Filipino TV shows. You talk about Regal Shocker. I remember the show called Guni Guni,
Pinoy
right?
thriller.
It,
Guni guni, yeah.
Guni Guni. I
That
remember the
was
show Guni Guni.
that was
They
later.
had
That
a
was later.
they had, was that later? They had an
Mm,
episode, or maybe it was Pinoy Thriller or Regal Shot. I don't know what it was, but there was had an episode where the son wanted to buy a sports car, and the mom was
mm.
like, "Okay, but don't buy the color red," you know. And the son was insistent, and he did not tell his mom, and he went and bought a red sports car. And one time, the mom found out, and she was like, and the son wasn't home yet, so she was freaking out. And then the
Mhm.
son came home, and when she opened the door, the son was like standing by the door, and he was like, he had blood. He was like bathed in blood. So I was like, I'm never gonna buy a red car. Come to think of it, I did own a red car. No, it was maroon, but like I just like for me, it's like I don't want to have a red car, because of seeing that. So that had an effect on me.
Mhm.
Um, I don't even know if that's a superstition, like if it's a red car, but I remember seeing that episode. So, yeah, it's probably just like
I
a
have a red
coincidence.
car.
It's just a coincidence. I know, but you didn't see that episode, so it had no effect on you. That is why you
Right.
got the red
Right.
car without hesitation,
True.
right? See, it only affects you if you're aware of it. That's the thing with superstition. You're only aware, you're only affected, or you're only conscious about it, or you only fear it, or you're only controlled by it if you're aware of it. If you don't know it, it's harmless, right? I mean, like, what about the people in Africa who don't know about these superstitions? What about the people in other countries that don't know about these superstitions that we Pinoys have? I mean, do
Yeah.
they go through the
They have
same
their own
bad luck?
superstitions.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't affect us.
Yeah, that
So,
latter thing, right?
so,
That's a
the
famous
su- so
Western
superstitions,
superstition.
no, like they are country specific. Like this bad aura, this bad karma, like will only affect Asians. This bad karma will only affect Caucasians. This bad karma will only affect Africans.
You
Like,
know
is that
who
universe?
who made that tabi tabi po superstition?
Joey Ayala.
No, the government. The government. Because they don't want you to be peeing everywhere. I mean, that it doesn't apply here in Japan because nobody pees on the street.
See, but it
They would
backfired
find a
on
toilet
them.
and pee.
It backfired on them because people would still do it and just say tabi tabi po. Now they have an excuse to do it. See, now they're like safe from whatever fear they might initially have because they have the magic words tabi po. So I'm safe. Now they encourage instead of discouraging peeing in public, they encouraged it because they fabricated a story about dwarves, messing with your patoy if you pee out in public and you accidentally
Right,
pee on like an encanto,
right.
right?
So it
Which
backfired.
is it backfired. It
Right.
backfired. All right, so another
Screw the
superstition.
government.
Another
All right.
another superstition.
All right. Okay. Here. Okay. This. We. Okay. This I didn't know about, but I read it somewhere. It was. Was it a blog, or was it an article in a newspaper? I don't remember, but this one's interesting. A very common line used by Filipinos when knocking on someone's door is "Tao po, tao po." I thought it's like you're asking if there's somebody home,
Yeah.
right? I thought
Oh,
in
so you're
English it
actually
would be
telling
like,
them that
"Oh,
you are
is
a
someone
tao.
home?"
I
Yeah.
get it. Oh, that's
So it's
creepy.
yeah,
Oh, that
right?
made it
Taupo, taupo.
creepier, man.
Right. Many assume it refers to the
Oh,
knocker calling out to ask if there are any people inside, when actually
oh, that's
it is said to stem
creepy.
from the knocker reassuring the people inside that
It's
he or
human.
she is a person and
Oh
not
man,
a possibly harmful supernatural creature. So
that's
when I first read
creepy.
this, I was like, yeah, I know, right? So the first
Oh,
time I read it, I was like, oh, did you know? I told my wife, I was like, did you know that it meant you're telling the people
that's
inside the house that
creepy,
I'm a
man.
person, that I'm a
I
human
don't want to
being,
do that anymore.
right? Taupo, taupo. You thought that you're calling out people inside the
You know,
house. Oh,
you
tao,
know
may
what?
tao diha.
I'm never gonna do that when I knock at people's houses. You know why? Because they'd be like tapo tapo, and then there's like someone next to me going, "Are you sure? Sigurado ka? Pag sure now."
Now you're
Crap.
creeping me out,
You know,
Rod. What the
I
heck,
know that's what I'm
man?
saying.
You're
No,
creeping
just
me out.
just just the thought of it, like just the thought of you, like you're knocking there to inform people that you are human. That scares you. That literally tells you, like, what the heck? Where do you live? The village in Resident Evil? I mean, what the heck? You live in Raccoon
Or
City?
the
What the heck's
village in the
going on here?
village.
If the village in the village, well, they're all humans, and somebody's just pretending to not be,
I know,
but
right?
still, right? It's like, my God, can you imagine knocking on someone's door and just like letting them know that
Right?
you are
Very
a human?
interesting. First time I
It's,
read this, I was like,
oh
wow,
my God.
really?
So you just,
That's what it meant?
yeah, that's creepy. Yeah. Maybe we should research why we just use ayo instead of tao
I
me.
know, right? Ayo, ayo, right?
No, because
We should
how many
research. Yeah,
people will how many people
right?
will open the door if you
John
knock
has
and
a
say
point.
daot
John has a
daot?
point.
Ayun
Ayo,
na daot na.
ayo. Okay, okay. Let's Google it. Ayo.
Why ayo? Because no
Why
one will open the door
do
if you say daot, right?
Bisaya people say? Okay, all right. Let's
Ayo.
ayo.
That might even be creepier when they knock on the
All
door.
right. Let's see. Why do
Tao
Bisaya?
po.
Why do?
Dang, that's creepy, man. So like so only humans can actually, like, only a person can say tao po. Is it explained there why?
No, it just says it's um. Hello, is anyone there? This could be wrong. What is the difference between pag-amping and ayo ayo? No, ayo meaning in Bisaya. Um,
I think
ayo
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 means
ayo.
like you're the bearer of good things.
Right.
Like ayo, like ayos, like you're knocking and you're bringing good luck, or like good vibes only. Like I said, like you no one's gonna open the door if you say daot. Like you knock and you're like it's a greeting, like greeting, right? Like right? Isn't ayo like what does ayo mean? Like good, right? Or fixed? Is that what it means? Fixed?
I think so.
Maayong buntag. Maayong buntag. See? That's basically it from the word maayo. Maayong good. So you're like good. You're basically to translate it. That's what it means. You're bringing good things or you're the bearer of good things or something like
No,
that. I'm not really
it
sure.
doesn't say anything about Ayo.
Yeah,
So it
ayo
seems
could be
like
short
this,
for maayo. That's right.
right.
Ayo could be short for maayo. Like maayong buntag, maayong gabi, maayong Pasko. So maayo, like you're bringing good luck, so to speak.
Hmm.
I
All
think.
right.
I think. I
Cool.
think that could be. But that tao po one was creepy, man. That was creepy.
But then daot in Bisaya, in Cebu, it means you're skinny, you're thin.
Oh, really? So I thought
Yeah,
it was
that's what it
niwang.
means. No, 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 no. That's why you hear people say dautan ni mo eh. So it means like, payata ni mo eh.
Oh, really? Wow. I thought daot meant crazy. Like,
No, that's the Davao daot, I think.
yeah.
I could be wrong, but I,
No, the Davao daot is plipax.
that's that's not Bisaya. That's
Plipax
somebody
naman.
who just made it up.
Diba- diba-
Plipax in Bataan. That's somebody who just made it up. I mean, where did that come from? Who? I mean, I know it.
Dude,
It was
save
around the
save
80s.
that thought. Save that thought. We're gonna use this as a topic. Terms that people made up or where the heck the case. We're talking superstitions here, but
See,
like flipax,
daot in
right?
Cebu is skinny. Yay! I remembered.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gab must have heard that a lot.
All right. Yeah. Gab, dautan ni mo eh. Like, mas daot ka, gago. Okay. I
No,
mean,
but the
right?
problem,
This
but the
this can
problem,
cause
but the
problems.
problem is,
This can
the
cause
problem is people
problems.
people said that to him, but he was no longer in Cebu. He was already here in Davao. People were still saying it.
Dautan ni bataan. Eh. But you know what? Yeah, that's so true. I was
Flipax.
in that situation because I was with somebody who's from Cagayan, and I was really pissed because we were talking, and he said, "Hey, Ice, first time I met you, I didn't really like you." And I said, "Why?" Because in my mind, I was saying, "Oh, kapayason man yung bataan ni. Ugananing Ice kay kapayason." And in my head, I'm like, "Kapayason." Like kapayason, for Davaoenos is, you're a crybaby. You easily
Mm-hmm.
cry when somebody
Sensitive.
teases
Yeah.
you or somebody whatever. So soft. So I was
Balat
like, what the heck is
sibuyas.
this guy doing, right? But
Yeah.
then I found out that kapayason is actually hambugero,
In
somebody who's full
in
of
that
air
part of
in
in that part
in
of the
Cagayan.
country. In
Yeah, in
in Cagayan.
Cagayan, because he's from Cagayan and it was using the term kapayason. I was just like pissed. But then it meant like, oh, he thought I was, somebody who's full of air. It's an
So
asshole
he
or
was like,
something.
yeah, but both was kind of like, but did you
He thought I
take
was a
both as
bug.
negative? Did you take both as negative? I mean, would you rather
Well, no, not,
be?
not not
Would
really. Like if somebody would call me humbug, I probably am. I'm not sure. Probably the way they
yeah,
see me. Then if they see me that way, then
yeah.
I
That is
am.
your opinion.
I'm
That
probably
is your
am.
initial opinion. That's true.
Yeah,
That's your initial opinion.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
think they're wrong because I would probably think
So now,
that
which would
of
you prefer,
myself.
onion skin or asshole?
So wait, which would you prefer, onion skin or asshole?
You
Hmm.
know what? Iceman doesn't care. To be honest, it's what he thinks of himself. It's not what other people think of him. That's what matters, right?
But no, I mean, here's the thing: if you argue with people that you're not, it will never end. So when somebody calls me something, I'm like, all right, fine, I'm probably an asshole. All right, cool. I mean, what can I
Yeah.
do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we
Because I
form our
because I
opinions
get
about
that a
people
lot.
too, right?
I
Yeah.
always get that. Like people always have this impression of me, and you can't stop it. You can't change it. So I mean, if you argue with
You
them, it
can.
won't
You
change
can. Once they
anything.
get to know you, you can.
Exactly.
If they don't know
Because
you that well,
somebody you work with, Don Lanzar, right? You work with this
yeah.
guy, and he hated me. I think he hated me. He just didn't tell me, but I know that he hated me because right after we were together at the training in Manila, he was like, "Kalata ni mo ba? Cool raman day ka ba?" I'm like, "Yeah, what did you think? Like, well, he was like, well, he just
He
said
was so
that.
stressed. He was so stressed out by your presence.
we,
He
we
was so
actually became
affected.
friends. Actually became friends. So I like. I mean, I think he hated me. I didn't really care about other
Okay, let,
people's
let me ask you
radio
a
back
question.
then.
Are you the type of person who gets affected by people by having an a-hole um around you? Like if you're like at a party, right? And you see a
Right.
guy who you know is like an a-hole.
Like
Like
a
you know him
dick.
from maybe
All
your
right.
a previous, yeah, like he's like a dick. Like you know him from a previous whatever. Is that gonna ruin your experience? Are you gonna be like, oh man, I'm not gonna enjoy this party? I'm like, this party's gonna
No,
suck.
not
This guy's
not
here.
really. Not unless he does something really bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if he's just
Yeah.
like being himself, like being an asshole, or whatever, like I don't think
Or
that would bother
or you
me.
go to a bar and he's there. Will you go back to that bar knowing that that's his hangout? I mean, is one person's presence going to affect you that much? Are you that type of person, or it's
No,
like you can
because
let
when
it
I go to
pass?
places, I'm always, with people, and I focus my attention on the people I'm with. I'm never that guy who would always, like look at other, like yeah, I would be on the lookout for pretty girls. I would be looking
Yeah,
around for pretty
but you
girls.
can care
If
less
I see an
about like
asshole,
which.
I would
Yeah,
just dismiss it. Asshole
yeah,
dismissed. Asshole dismissed. Oh, pretty girl.
yeah,
All right. I mean, why
yeah.
focus on the assholes when you can focus on
I
the
think
pretty
we're
girls?
I think we're the same way. I don't like. I really don't. I really could care because I have friends who are like that. I have friends who are like, we walk in a bar and he'd be like, bay, wag tayo dito bay. Ano yan?
Pasit na ba?
Takaw
Visit
gulo
ka na.
yan.
Si ano ba yun?
Takaw gulo
Right.
yan bay. Bulabog na bay. Samok na. I'm like, well, if that guy's known to cause trouble or whatever, I'm not, like I've been
It's
in
more of
my,
like I'd
I'm,
probably leave because I know that he would probably attack me. That would probably be the case.
okay,
But me
yeah,
getting affected and doing something towards the other person,
because he
that
might
ain't
do
happening.
something else. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because if he
yeah.
might do something to me or the people I'm with, I'm probably gonna leave.
Okay,
But
what
if I
about
know he's
okay?
just an asshole and he's not known for just attacking people, then I'm probably fine with it.
Okay, that's like in a situation where you're in the same place, like you're in the same
Hmm.
bar and that jerk is there, so you can let it.
Yeah.
What if you work with that person? What if you apply for a job and you get hired and your first day on the job, you see this guy there. I don't. I mean, it's irrelevant whether he's your superior or your same level employment status, but he's there. He's like, oh shoot, I'm gonna share office space with this dude, and you don't have anything like you don't have history with each other, but you just know that this person is trouble. Like
Well,
based
I don't
on.
know.
Are you? Do you
I've
get
usually
affected? Are you
just
gonna be like, shoot, I don't want to go come to work. This guy is a jerk. This
probably
guy is
not.
an ass
Probably
kisser. This
not.
guy is,
I never really cared for other people. Like if I've worked with some people whom I
who you didn't like,
dislike.
but you were okay, but you
I was
survived.
okay because I mean, I, like how long am I gonna be with them? Tops
Yeah.
8 hours, right? So I'm not gonna
Unless
ruin my life
unless maybe you have
because I spent
direct
8 hours with him or her
contact with them, like
in a
you
day.
have a specific working relation, like you're on the same team, same department, and you have to both get work done and you have to coordinate with him for projects, then maybe that might have an effect because
I
obviously
told you
you
about my
know
story, right? I told you about my story. That was like
uh
years. No, it wasn't years. Probably a year or two. I told you.
you dealt with that situation.
I dealt with that situation. Come on, you know this for a
Yeah,
fact. I told you.
yeah.
Are you getting me?
I'm trying to recall.
Oh, come on, man. It's a common
Okay,
experience.
okay, all right.
It's a all right.
I
It's a
got
common
it, I got it, I got
experience.
it. Yes, yes.
All right, okay.
Yes.
So
Early days. Yes. You're right. And it is, and the funny thing was, it was just the two of you. There wasn't even
right,
like involving other people. That made
exactly.
it worse. Okay, so you've proven you're okay. You've proven yourself that you can work with people even if you don't like them. Like
Mm.
you're fine. You have your switch. You have a switch.
Yeah, I have a switch because if I like the job, I would keep that job. I
Okay,
don't care who
you
I'm working
are
with because I like the job.
my friend, you are officially a survivor in my book. You will survive the Holocaust. I mean, if you
What
can
is funny?
survive working with some
Hang on.
dude,
Why
if you
would
can,
you equate it to the
dude, dude,
Holocaust? You're
dude,
gonna get into
dude,
trouble.
dude, if you can survive working with somebody you don't like or you hate, you can survive anything. Dude, I'm telling you, that's the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. I mean, just
Compared to
having a
getting
relative.
shot at?
just having a
compared to getting
relative you don't
shot at.
like. I mean,
All right, okay, I
it's
get
just
what you mean.
it's you know what I'm saying. It's like
But it's because
I
I
mean you
like
can
the job so much. I have
exactly.
passion for the job. I have
That's what
passion
I'm
for the
saying.
job. So I have to put up with that shit. If I didn't
You
like
can
the,
survive
the
the
job,
Holocaust.
I'd be just like, whatever. I'm not gonna ruin my life for this. I'm just
I mean,
gonna
because I remember
get the
I
f out
remember
of here.
as a kid. I think you outgrow it as you become an adult. You outgrow it because you know when you're a kid and you have PE class and you share PE and you're in the same locker room as the school bully, then that's going to be affecting you. You're gonna be like you're gonna come up with excuses not to show up for PE. You're gonna because that's where the bullying happens in the locker room, especially in the states. You know, I've seen a lot of guys get knocked out and get bullied and all that stuff. They get slammed in
I
the
don't know what your
lockers.
dad taught you, but my dad was like, like they hit you, you hit harder. So it wasn't like an
Yeah,
issue
I
for me
mean,
or
not me.
anything.
I mean, it wasn't me. I'm just saying, like, usually when you're a kid, that stands out more. It has a
Right.
bigger effect on you because you're a kid. You're helpless. You can't reason
That's
with
true.
people, and these
That's
people
true.
usually they're kids too. Bullies are kids too, so they're more dangerous because they're not really thinking about the consequences of their actions. What's the worst thing that can happen? Get sent to the principal's office, detention. But when you become an adult and you're in a workspace, as long as he's not the boss or he doesn't own the company, then you know that he's also going to fear losing his job or getting a memo or whatever. So even if you're working with a bully,
But
there
what
are
if?
ways to deal
What
with it.
if? What if you have a boss who's an asshole? That would be a different story, right? I mean, if it's just somebody you work with, then it's
Okay,
yeah. But
like
what
what
if it's
level
the
boss?
boss?
Like, is there
Like boss
another
boss.
boss higher than him?
Well,
Because I can direct my concerns with that higher boss,
that's
and that
true.
higher boss will deal with him, this little boss. You know what I'm
In
saying?
my case, the asshole was the higher boss. Yeah.
Really, you had that issue?
Dude, I had that issue. You were there. You were a witness. I didn't do anything. He
Oh
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
went ballistic on me. He asked me to resign right then and there. And I liked my job so much. I was like, no, I'm not going to resign. I don't care. I'm not going to see you
Oh
anyway.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
remember
Oh,
that? You remember that?
I
Yeah,
almost
remember
forgot
that
about
meeting?
that, dude.
You
Oh my
forgot
god, I
about
almost
that?
forgot about that. You are a
Yeah.
bad boy, dude. Why do you always
Dude,
get yourself in?
that guy
Why do you
trapped
always get
me.
yourself in situations like
Okay,
that?
here's the
I know,
story.
and you didn't even do anything.
I didn't do anything. Here's the story. My wife came home on a whim. All right. It was a surprise attack. She came home, so I wasn't prepared for, a leave or something. So she wasn't gonna stay long. It was just a week. So I needed to
Oh yeah,
get
I
some
totally
days
forgot
off.
about that. Yeah,
It wasn't even like 2 days. It was just like a day off, one day
yeah,
off,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
One
yeah,
day
yeah,
off. So it
yeah.
was a sudden thing. I know, nobody died. It wasn't an emergency or something, but for us, there was an emergency, or for us people, who works in radio. You know how OA DJs are, right? We're
Yeah,
so OA
of
with
course.
relationships and whatnot. So I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I need to save my relationship because we were going through something. I need one day off, just a day off.
yeah.
And I talked to Joe about it. I talked to Ripper about it, right? So I called them
Mm-hmm.
verbally and they said, all right, it's cool, it's fine. And as I write, I'm going to write a letter and I'm just going to pin it on the cork board. All right, I'm going to sign it. Please sign it when you get to the station, right? I think one of them forgot to sign it, right?
Yeah,
One of them forgot to sign it, but verbally they already agreed.
yeah,
That's the story here. And
yeah,
when that guy showed up at the station and
yeah,
saw that thing on the cork board, and it wasn't signed, it only had my signature in it, and no signature from Joe and from Ripper, and he went nuts. So he was
yeah,
cooking this story about me not respecting authority and whatever shit he was accusing me of.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he started to come up with a scenario, and he started like calling people for meeting and whatnot. And I thought there was a meeting, and there wasn't any meeting. No, we didn't have a meeting. They told me that there was going to be a meeting. When I got there was no meeting. I was like, all
It
right,
was for
there's a
you.
meeting. It was for me. Billy
It was a
Kane was there. I
setup.
was like, Billy Kane, are we having a meeting? He was like, no, I don't know any meeting. Like, I didn't hear anything. So I was like, I was like, all right, I'm in trouble. All right,
Yeah.
I caught up with the fact that something's being planned for me.
Dude, I totally,
So
you know
Joe,
what? I totally forgot about that. But I think during that time, I don't know if I'm right, but I kind of got the feeling that people were like picking on you. Like at
no,
least
because
he
this was
was. Like
no, he
was
was because
did he have
before
an
that,
issue already with you, or
no,
that
no,
was just because I mean that's kind of petty, man, for him to go ballistic.
it
Unless he
was
really
petty,
like he had something already.
probably because something happened right before that. That big incident
That's probably it.
with another, right. So it wasn't like internal. It was from like outside of the
That
station.
you did.
No, not that I did, but because of some people
Okay.
trying to make me
Okay. Oh,
something
I get.
into I'm
Okay. So
not,
maybe
right?
maybe
So
it
it
got to
got
him.
to
Yeah.
him. I think he heard of it and he was like, whatever. So he saw
You were.
that
Yeah.
and he kind of like probably had that impression that maybe whatever was going on outside was actually true. But then because
Yeah. Like.
after that meeting, Ripper and Joe, pulled me in, pulled me on the side, and they talked to me. They were like, just lay low for a while. We got your back, right? Because they
Yeah.
know for a fact they already asked permission from them. I wasn't pointing
Yeah.
fingers or whatnot, but I'm like, whatever. They're,
Yeah.
they're still my direct
I was like,
bosses.
man,
So,
I don't know what I was doing
all
then. I
right.
was
I
probably
mean,
messing
if you
around, you
really
know.
think about it, the people who were at fault were the people who didn't sign it, right? Because they asked for a favor. It's like, and you, like, they were
Yeah.
like, all right, we're gonna sign it. And they said yes,
Yeah.
but they couldn't tell him that they
No, but I mean
that they
that
said
you
yes
know,
because they were also
regardless,
scared that they will get into trouble.
considering our relationship, how the closeness that we had, and the bond, and we were all adults. I mean, yeah, these are formalities, these are protocols in the office. I get that, I understand that, but I mean, like I said, nothing was compromised. No, the show was there was still a show. It's not like you neglected your duties. There
Exactly. All
somebody
right.
was put in as a
Right.
replacement. That could have just been like maybe
Exactly.
a
The
little
things
talk,
that
like,
I
hey,
did for
let's
the
you
station,
know
for starters,
the,
they would like
the
leave me
salaries we
at the
were
station for
receiving.
8. Exactly. Right. I would be at the station for 8 hours while you guys
Okay, all
already
right,
on
all
the
right.
beach.
Let's not talk about that.
Right.
Let's not talk about that.
But
Let's go
anyway,
back to superstitions because, yeah, that's it.
but
You
anyway,
know,
that was the story
you live, we
behind it.
learn.
It's
We live, we
probably my
learn.
favorite.
We live,
But
we learn.
I mean, no hard
What I like,
feelings.
about you,
No hard
what I like about
feelings.
you is that you don't harbor, like, yeah, you don't really, like, you don't keep it in. You don't let it eat you up inside. I only know of one person that you totally is persona non grata in your life, and that's like that was like your friend went abroad, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's the
yeah.
only
That's
person.
that's
That's
the
the only
guy.
person I've heard you say something of that magnitude about. Like
Because
everyone
I
else, you
felt
can
so
kind of forgive
betrayed.
and forget.
Because I felt
Yeah,
so
this one
betrayed with
totally
this
like
guy.
persona non grata, man. It's like
Yeah,
he's
because
the
he
only
was.
person I've
I
ever heard
treated
you
him
like
like a
feel that
a
way.
brother. This person I treated like a brother, and he did that. So
Yeah,
for other people to tell me that, hey, dude, just forget it. Like, no, I cannot forget it. Like, I didn't do anything to
yeah,
this guy. I treated him like a
yeah.
brother. I gave him, like life changing advice and right. Ah, dili sumbagay niya.
And
No, I
and
mean,
hold
I
on,
wouldn't. I
and
would. Nah.
the issue here is it wasn't really what you did for him. It was what he did to you. You know, like whatever he did for him, that's already irrelevant. Like because it's what he did to you that was the painful part. I think.
Exactly, exactly.
You know what I'm
The
saying? Like
things
it's what
the
he
things that
did
I
to you.
did for him, I did it out of the kindness of my heart and because I considered
Yeah,
him like a brother. And our
yeah,
relationship as close friends, it was, I freely gave it. Nothing to do with that, but
yeah.
it's because of what he
The
did
least
to
he
me.
could
I
do
felt
was not
betrayed.
do what he did to you, right? Which was,
Exactly.
I get it, I
Right? He
get it,
could
I
have
get
been
it.
honest. He could have been honest and
That's why,
I would have
dude.
understand.
That's why I'm always like, whenever I hear people, I have friends who are like 100% both feet in the door when it comes to friendship, relationships, even family. I'm kind of like, it's not always gonna be a sunny day,
Exactly. Right?
So always
But I
kind
would
of
like to give
look
props
ahead.
to Billy Kane. Because you know why? Because Billy Kane got text messages about something, um, telling him that
And he spoke to you about it and he clarified it
no,
with
he
you.
didn't even spoke to me about it. Right? I was the one who actually talked to him. Hey, Billy Kane, something's up, blah blah blah, and he was like, "Dude, I know you. Like, I don't believe
Yeah,
these things."
exactly. That yes,
So
yes. He's
that I
a
give
smart guy.
props to him because I was so scared that he would believe
Man,
those
people
things,
were really kind of
and he's not
finding
petty.
ways to get you in trouble, huh?
Right?
People were
Yeah.
God.
Exactly. And I never said those things.
You
And
know what?
so when
And
Billy
all
came
that's and
came
all the while
when
you
I
never
came up to
warned
him and he
me.
said that he's okay with it, like, no, I don't believe these things. I know you for like, as a person, and I work with you. I would take your word rather than listening to these BS
So all
that's coming
these
from
times we were
whatever.
hanging out, like we could have been jumped by a group of guys like out of nowhere, and I wouldn't have no idea.
No, I
Like
don't
you
think
never
they would
wore.
do
I
that.
should
I don't
have
think they
I
would
should
do
have
that.
worn a bulletproof vest, man, hanging out with you, knowing all this hate. No, but I mean,
Right?
kidding
No, I
aside,
mean,
no, it's
they would
not.
have done
That's
that
their
if
problem.
if they're
Yeah, they
really
would have done it if they. Yeah, it wasn't. Obviously,
th-
you didn't do
I think
anything that
it's just
anything that bad. It was just like I don't know. It's petty
they were
issues.
just like
Like
this. It's always like
petty
tikon
issues.
talo, right? Tikon talo.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
yeah,
going
yeah,
back
yeah.
to
Petty issues.
superstition.
Go.
Okay.
Ikaw
Actually,
talo.
okay. Yeah, Picontalo. Superstition. All right. Oh,
Is that a
my
superstition?
auntie just said something, but actually it's next on the list. Siblings should not marry within the same year. All right? Because my auntie just said,
Yeah.
like, what? Wag ka
What
daw
is that
muna
called?
mag-asawa if you still have kuya or ate na single pa. Or maybe it's not, but it's
No,
kind
that's
of like the
different.
same.
That's different.
This is
That's different.
sukob, like the thing called sukob.
The one in the same
Um,
year is the sukob, right?
right, yeah. The
But
superstition is called
I also
sukob,
know
and
this.
mhm.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
one with
What will
which
happen
one?
if it's
This?
sukob? What will happen? What's the
Alright, okay.
consequence of
If
sukob?
it's sukob, hang on. This superstition is called sukob and advises against siblings marrying within the same year, as it is said to divide the luck between the two marriages. Another type of sukob advises against marriages within the same year, as the death of an immediate family member pushing to do so is considered bad luck. Another wedding related superstition is that the bride should never try on her dress before the big day. I've heard this. This is said to bring bad luck and cause the cancellation of the union.
How we,
Bullshit.
dude? How is the bride supposed to know if the dress is a good fit? You know what I'm saying? There has to be a final fitting. That's so stupid. I think that was made by
It
the
is, right?
bridesmaid, who was always the bridesmaid and never the bride. She
Right.
came up with that
Was always
just so that
jealous
on the day,
of the
yeah,
bride, right?
yes, yes, she was just jealous that she came up with
This
that so
bridesmaid
that all
wants all
brides
the
will look
bride to look
terrible in their
ugly.
bridal gowns.
Exactly. They would
Yeah,
look
yeah,
ugly in their dress. They
that's
wouldn't
it.
look gorgeous. And she has the last laugh. Wow.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Terrible people.
Like, 'cause I
Right.
don't get it. There has to be a final fitting. It's like your wedding gown for crying out loud. Yeah, you got fitted, but you got fitted like what months before, and then the
Hmm.
dress was constructed, and you're saying you're not gonna get fitted. I mean, come on. Uh, that's what everybody
Anyway,
says.
this doesn't make sense. Wag ka daw muna mag-asawa if you still have kuya or ate na single pa. What if you have an older sibling who doesn't have any plans getting married? That will put you on the spot, right?
Yeah, matandang dalaga. No, no, but you know who made that up? You know who
Who
made that
made
up?
that up? Who
It's
made that
it's
up?
it's made up by parents who always pay for the weddings of their children. Siyempre, they need to recover the budget, right?
Right, right.
Magasto same year. Gasto na naman, kami na naman sasagot ng wedding nyo. Ano ba yan?
Richard
Bawal
Lane is
yan.
saying it. I think same with your opinion. I think the whole sukob thing was one parent trying to come up
Yeah,
with an
Richard.
excuse because magastos mag-finance ng kasal, especially if two or three sa anak niya magpapakasal in a year.
Yeah,
Richard,
twisted
you
minds.
hacked it.
Twisted
Life
minds. That's
hacks.
exactly
Life
it.
hacks.
Yeah, I
You
didn't even
figure it
read
out.
Richard's message.
You
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah,
I agree. I totally
yeah.
agree.
That's
Holy
it. That's
pish.
basically it.
Right,
It's like
right.
that's basically it. Okay, manananggal is a superstition. That's what it is. But it's like a what else? What else? What about
Okay,
okay? What
okay, this
about
one
wag
is
maligo
something
pag
that
period? Well, we can't
is
relate, but
that
wag
superstition?
maligo pag period. Or wag maligo pag
Wait,
Holy
wait,
Week.
wait.
Wag maligo pag Biyernes Santo, right?
Wait. Suko, bad luck for the parents.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, okay, I heard that before. I actually did that. Do not take a shower or
You're in your
yeah,
period? You took a
wag
bath? You
maligo.
took a bath during your period?
No, what are you talking? See, this guy, he can't stop it. I'm telling you, he can't help it. He can't help it. He's gonna bully people. All right, anyway, yeah, you mentioned about Viernes Santo, like Holy Week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wag maligo. Yeah, I did that.
Wag
I did
maligo.
not shower. I think I did that one
Okay,
year
what's the
when
consequence?
I was
What
a
will
kid.
happen if you take a bath
I
during
I don't even know. It's
the
just that I heard somebody, an older cousin who probably just, you know, played me,
you know you
told me
know who
like
made
don't
this up?
shower in
You know who
like
made
during
this up?
Viernes Santo. Who?
Conservative parents who don't want their children going out on dates during Holy Week. Of
Or
course, right?
our
Because
parents
if
were
you take
so
a
cheap
bath,
to
that
pay
means
for water. Cheap parents were so cheap to pay for water, right? At least you could
I
serve
think
a little
I
bit
think
during
I
Holy
think it's
Week.
like do you remember when we were kids and it's Holy Week or Good Friday? We're like, we're
Mhm.
not supposed to make a noise. We're not supposed to laugh. We're not supposed to like play. We're not supposed to do anything festive or celebratory.
You can't get
So I
scratched,
that's why they're
or
saying don't take a
you can't
bath
have,
because they might think their daughter or their son may go out on a date because there's no school. It's a holiday,
Mhm.
So they're thinking
But
don't
dude,
take a
nothing's
bath.
open anyway. Where will you go? The malls are closed.
Well, you could go to your girlfriend's house, right? But then the
Yeah, and
parents are home
everybody's
because they don't have
there.
work.
Everybody's
Well,
there. What are you gonna do?
did
Hang
that
out with the
did that
dad?
ever but seriously, did that ever stop you, Ice?
Okay, here's the thing. When I was still in school, I couldn't visit my wife, who was my girlfriend at that time.
You were
So it
not
didn't
allowed.
matter. Yeah, it was forbidden love, so they say.
Oh
Bawal
man.
na
I've
pag-ibig.
been I've been there,
So,
done that. Yeah.
right.
That's the itch you want to scratch so much, right?
Mhm. That's true.
You're like,
That's true. I agree. Katul kay kampistiha ka! All right. Okay. Next on the list, something that we are all familiar with. This ever-present dish at Filipino gatherings is believed to represent long life. I'm talking about serving pancit noodles at
oh,
celebrations, especially
I know
birthday.
same parents, same kuripot parents came up with that. Nak, wag na tayo maglechon, nak, pansit, long life,
Pansit, pansit, pansit para mahabang buhay. Pansit, pansit
Ha?
nasan?
Walang
Pansit,
lechon.
pansit.
Pansit.
And while
Basically,
Filipinos today may joke and laugh about
90%
right?
of
What?
Filipino superstitions stem from kuripot parents.
Yes, yes, I would agree. That is so
The
true.
more superstitions your family
That
believes,
that is
the more cheapskate your parents are.
that is so
Basically, it.
believable. That is so believable. It makes sense to me.
Right.
Richard, save water. Take a bath with your neighbor's daughter. Right, and you will be charged for rape or something. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
And while Filipinos today may joke and laugh about actually believing that this noodle dish is served for long life, it remains a staple at nearly every birthday feast. Yes, of course, because it's cheap. Why not? Because it's cheap. It's somebody that all people can eat. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
tradition.
The,
Para mahabang
the, wor-
buhay. That's
the worst
load.
part
That's a load
is,
of crap.
that pancit is trouble when there's like chicken neck bone in it. It's
Mhm,
trouble. It's trouble. They go, what may buto? Like that's not, that's leftover meat.
mhm.
Um, or my carrots and cabbage, and that's it. That's trouble. I don't trust pancit
Okay,
like that. Any pancit with bones, that's not. All right, so let's move
pancit
on.
with bones. Pancit with bones. I've
Yeah,
never had pancit
like
with
neck,
bones.
dude. There, I've had pancit where like when you bite into it, there's like like leeg ng manok or
Hang
something. Like
hang on, hang on.
whoever did the
Dude,
himay,
where do you buy these
well,
pancit? I've never
dude,
had
nobody,
that ever. Or
dude,
maybe
dude,
my
I
kind of pancit is cheap because all my pancit ever only
doesn't
have
even
those
have meat.
kinupusan. No, yeah, just those taba, the kinupusan, not the actual meat. I hate pancit or bihon with actual meat in it. I prefer the kinupusan,
Where
the
do you get
taba.
that pancit?
No, my dad cooks it. Like my dad, like that.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, there
That
you
is
go. I can't
that's
compete
his
with that.
masterpiece.
I'm
That's his
talking about like
masterpiece.
carinderia pancit. I'm talking about
I
like
know.
cheapskate pancit where you buy, or sometimes even parties. Like you go to a party, it's usually pancit bihon. There's
Hmm.
usually like a piece of bone in there, like tiny bone that probably, maybe the person making himai actually
Hmm.
included it. Yeah.
This makes sense, right?
But
Pancit
pancit.
equals long life daw, but we cut the noodles using tinidor. That's why we die young. Can you read
Oh my God.
Jongs? I'm gonna get hot water for my tea. Hang
Jumping
on.
on New Year's Eve will make you taller. Yeah. Well, then somebody didn't get the memo. Like, I mean, a lot of people didn't get the memo, namely Dagul, Mura. Uh, I mean, no, but I mean, those people are not born short. Those people were short not because they didn't jump during New Year's. They had a condition, it was like a physical health condition. But Jumping on your seat will make you taller. You know, the funny thing is, you see people who are like 40 years old still jumping on New Year's Eve. I'm like, hello. Nobody has a growth spurt at 40. You know, I think you stop growing at like 21. I mean, I don't really know what the specific age is when you stop growing, but you could jump 50 million times every new year. But if you're above a certain age, you know, it's not gonna happen. But of course, if you're like 5 years old and you jump during New Year's, I'm assuming by the time you're 10, you're taller than when you were five. I mean, don't credit jumping during New Year's for that. You know, like I was just saying, you know, like if your
No, I
kid's
heard, I
5 years
heard, I
old, right?
heard, I heard, I
Right?
heard.
Anak,
I
lumuntad
was
ka
like
kasi New
laughing when
Year,
you said it.
tatangkad ka. Tatangkad ka kasi New
It's
Year.
kind of sad.
Anak,
I mean,
and then the
like you
kid is like
said,
7 years old. Oh, tumangkad ka. Come on, the kid grew because he's seven now. You know what I'm
yeah, he's
saying?
supposed to
Jeez.
grow. I mean,
He's
there's something
supposed to
wrong.
grow.
There's something's wrong with your kid if he doesn't grow.
Hindi ka
So
kasi
I was
lumundag ng
laughing.
New Year
I was
eh.
laughing when you said like, some people stop growing at a particular age, and when you said that, that's kind of like sad because, or some, probably offensive for some. I mean, we all have friends who are like really short, right? Like they're just
Yeah.
by nature short because of the genes and whatnot. So what are you trying to
Yeah.
say? They stop growing at 9 or 10?
Because
That's
he
kind of
didn't jump.
cool.
He didn't jump
Or they
during.
didn't jump during New Year's. That's just terrible.
Or what
Oh
about that thing where
man.
somebody jumps over you and you go like this, right? What the heck is that, right? I don't know. Like you don't grow because you won't grow, right?
No, they say it will make
It's
you
so
dumb.
stupid.
Not grow, it's like make you dumb. That
So you
thing
go
like
like
somebody
this,
hits
it'll
your
make you
head and
smart.
you do like this. Yeah, like you're
What, it
whatever.
balances it
Yeah,
out? It
yeah, it
balances
balances
out.
out. Stupid, right? Does it make sense?
I mean, you're already
Doesn't make
dumb to
sense.
begin with if you believed in it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to do with the person jumping over you. You're already dumb for going like this afterwards. I mean, come on, right? But
Terrible. All right. Okay.
anyways,
Next on the list, respect the elementals. Filipino folklore is rich with a variety of elementals, from giants smoking tobacco to small, grumpy
kapre,
old men living in anthills. Stories of these creatures fill the childhoods of many Filipino children, inciting both intrigue and fear. Many superstitions still surround the beliefs in such creatures today. Among the most practiced is the saying of Tabi Tabi Po, which is Rod's favorite because he likes to pee everywhere when passing through places where elementals are likely to dwell. These places are usually
I,
outdoors, such as anthills and balete trees. Failure to do so and disturbing such creatures may lead to unexplained sickness that can only be cured by an albulario.
yeah. Oh my god. Do you know an albulario, dude? I mean,
No,
not mangkepoeng, like like a real person, like not a, you know, not mangkepoeng. I'm
no,
talking about
no,
like a
no, no.
real
I
guy
do not.
who like
I do
wears his
not.
bandana, who wears the bandana
Yeah.
backwards.
Well, see, another question: do they really look like that? Do they really look like that? Because every time there's a movie and they have this albulario in the scene, he looks exactly like that. So I am not sure if that's accurate. Do albolarios look like that? Is that a fact?
and, and if you wear your bandana like that, doesn't make you an albulario. Do
Holy
you immediately
crap!
have powers? I mean, what does that have to do with
No,
scaring evil spirits? I mean, why don't you do wear your bandana backwards? What the heck's with that, man? I mean, is that gangsta? I don't know. But anyways,
that's
jeez.
gangsta. If you think about it, yeah. Crips. I'm Bloods, my friend.
Who who the heck is he? What's that guy's name? The bald dude who was with J Lo doing the rap. Uh,
Uh,
starts
Pitbull.
with J. No, no, no. It starts with J. Black dude. His
Joe.
mustache is like only here. Here. Jarul. Jarul.
Jarul.
Ja-
Jarul. All right, Jarul.
Jarul's
All right.
mustache is only here, right? Am I right? He has like a little
I
mustache.
think
He has
so.
like
I think so.
yeah.
All right.
Jarul. Yeah, all right.
Anyway, all right, tabi tabi po. We tackle that. All right, be careful when showing fondness over babies. What's this? I have
Buyag.
not.
Buyag. Buyag.
Buyag. Yeah, that's it. All right, so be
Buyag.
careful when showing fondness over babies. It says here it's difficult to restrain from playing with cute babies or complimenting their parents on their adorable features, but doing so in the Philippines is believed by some to be a potential cause of illness, referred to as either usog or bati. This superstition says that when a person with strong energy greets a child, the child may soon after suffer from unexplainable discomfort. This is why, especially in the countryside, older people know to say puera usog. All right, in Bisaya we say buyag, right? When showing fondness over children, this is meant to counter any usog that may have happened otherwise. If this isn't said and parents attribute certain maladies of their children to usog, they may ask the greeter to smear their saliva on the suffering child's forehead as a cure. But with COVID right now, I don't think that's happening.
Basically, dude, the thing here is when you see a cute kid, just tell them they're ugly. All right,
Pangita
that's
ng
it.
bata.
Sama na nga na. Kawawang bata, ang pangit. I mean,
Liwata sa papa.
that's basically it. That's basically what that belief, the superstition is saying.
And then
Whenever
you
you see a
get
cute
punched.
baby, just
I'm
say to
like,
the
no, I'm
parent that
doing
the
you a
kid's ugly.
favor. It's
Yeah,
fuera
you're doing
usog,
them a
man.
favor. Yeah, you're doing them. You want your kid to get sick? You know, that's a
You didn't have to
that's
say
an
that
ugly ass
the
kid.
baby looks like me.
Yeah, you got an ugly ass kid. I mean, I don't. Yeah, like even like pohon is not superstition. Right? Pohon is different. Like pohon, like
Well, it can be
makita ta ko ang
superstition.
pohon. What
It can be
pohon?
a superstition. Yeah,
Pohon
because
is a
I
superstition
mean,
too.
puhon is like, well, just because if you don't say puhon, something bad might happen,
It might not
and
happen. Like it
yeah,
might
it
not
might not
happen.
happen. Because I've said congratulations to some people when I was in college. Those who were
When
like
they say
in
pohon.
the upper class, and they're graduating. I'm like, oh, are you graduating this year? And they'd be saying puhon, puhon, puhon. And when I was in fourth year, I also said that when people were telling me about like, oh, graduate na ka ba? Ah, puhon, puhon. I would say that without
So
even
basically,
knowing
you're
what the
doubting
meaning of
your
puhon was.
you're doubting your chances of graduating or getting
Exactly,
married
right. So
or
it's just
getting
that
something done.
like same conversation with um, Stephen Curry making that shot because like the more you
I
practice,
think
the more luckier it
a lot of
becomes. It's the
the
same conversation.
a lot of the superstitions that people practice or it appears like they still believe in it or whatever. I think it's more of like by habit, or that they're just it's more habitual than anything really. Like maybe their heart's not into it anymore, but it just become like an automatic response, like pohon. I mean, tabi tabi po. Personally, I'm a scaredy cat, so I want to play it safe. I don't want like anything happen to my wang or whatever when peeing outdoors or whatever. I still kind of believe that there are those that exist that's not quite within our realm. I mean, but I don't delve into it. Like I don't like study it or research it, or I don't specifically. I can't say I've seen one. You know, but I, like I'd rather be wrong than right. But what if I was, what if there is, right? So it's kind of like what people say, why would you go through all the fuss of being good? You don't even know if there's really a hell. What if there is? Don't you like if there isn't, what's the worst it can do? You just did good things. I
There
mean,
isn't.
right?
I think there
But
isn't.
what if there
I would
but
just
what if
tell you
there
right now,
is?
there isn't. There
But
isn't,
what if
man.
there is?
We
I
never
know, but what if
know.
there is? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man,
I'd
that's
rather play it
that's
safe,
total BS,
right?
man. I mean, where would it be then? Where is this hell you're talking about?
Dude,
Can we find
I'll
it
tell you
somewhere?
this. I'll
Can we
tell you
find it
this.
somewhere?
I, I,
Because that's
I had a
totally
friend, right?
bullcrap. Like, oh, there's
I
hell. Like,
mean,
where?
it's not specifically about heaven and hell, but I had a friend was like, her son was sickly, right? And
Right.
they couldn't quite figure out what was wrong with the kid. So she would keep bringing, she was like a single parent. She would keep bringing her son to the hospital and get him checked up. And he keeps getting meds and, therapy and whatever. But she can get a straight answer from the doctors and whatever. But she herself, has declared herself to be atheist. Like she doesn't like have a religion or doesn't believe specifically in a god or anything.
Right.
And so we had a talk. So I'm like, I mean, I'm not like, I'm not a religious guy or whatever my faith is. I keep to myself. If I have a relationship with God, that's my thing. I don't push it on people, and I certainly don't fall for people's, claims. So I told her, okay, let's just put it this way: what if your kid's in dire straits? Your kid's in a in very terrible shape, and the doctors tell you there's nothing they can do. All right. So are you just gonna sit there and cry? I mean, you wouldn't you at least pray, whether you believe in a God or not? Just take your chances. Just if that's your last resort, wouldn't you at least pray? I mean, even if there isn't a God that as you believe it to be, because this is the doctors can do anything. Science cannot help your kid no more,
No, if
And
it's
I
something
think
that's not yet.
as a parent, and I think as a parent, you'll cling to anything. I mean, you'll cling to anything just
Well,
so that
well,
if
naturally,
your
yeah,
child is
yeah,
saved, you
naturally,
can
of
have
course.
something to give credit to, right? So I was just saying, can you just? And she was like thinking, she was like thinking, yeah, probably, like like I wouldn't just like rely on the
Here's the
doctors.
thing:
The
I don't
doctors
have a
could,
problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. Like, if
but
it
it's
makes people feel better about their situation, I mean, who am I to tell them that these
it
things
brings
doesn't
them if it
exist?
brings them comfort, right? If it
Yeah,
brings
yeah.
them comfort, yeah, yeah.
It's like at the end of the day, it's your own belief.
This is
Like
like
we have
we
freedom to
never.
believe things
And for the
and
people out there
freedom not to
watching, we're
believe
not
things.
specifically talking about religion here. We're talking about like more of the spiritual realm, all right? We're not like mentioning specific
Right. Like
religions
for
here,
me,
so
I
it's not
was very
religion.
religious. I was very spiritual, but then I just came to a point where I'm
Is that
just
out
like,
the door
I
now? You
yeah, it's
put that
out the
out the
door now. It's
window?
out the door now.
Like you fell
Like
for
even my
it? Is
wife's
that
like,
what happened?
so, dude, my daughter's not baptized. My daughter's not dedicated. Nothing. So
Like
when my
it's
wife
like you
was
fell.
bringing it up, like since she was born, so my wife was bringing it up, and like, are you not gonna, I was like, no, I mean, I'm not gonna do it. Like, if you want to do it, it's fine. I'm not gonna stop you from doing it, but I'm not gonna
Yeah,
participate in it. Like, I'm not gonna be there and get ninongs and whatnot. Like, I'm not gonna do it because
yeah.
it's I
Because
don't believe
I
it.
remember you used to attend like a. But anyway, we're not gonna. It's not religion. We're not
Yeah.
talking about religion
So
here. We're talking
it's
about like
just,
a
that like
person's.
now, right? So it's more of like, but then again,
Okay, what is it? What is it that kind of turned that switch for you? Was it a?
no,
Was it an
it was more of
experience?
I've just
Was it like the more you read
I've spent so
into it?
much time here and I met so many types of people and I've kind of just realized things. It was more of
Yeah.
like we needed, like for me at least, I needed that because I was going through a lot of things in my life. And most of these things I did not see any solution to all my problems except for, maybe I should
But
just pray
but
because there's
but you know
like
what?
it's so difficult
I
to get over
I
these
here's a
things.
trend I noticed because my dad's the same thing. My dad like wouldn't go to church, like he doesn't attend church regularly or whatever. Now that he's older, he's a little bit more spiritual because, he's had heart attacks and he doesn't know, like he kind of he kind of doesn't want to regret it. Like so, I don't know, if you want if you could do it like later in life and it'll still work for you, but my dad is a very intelligent man, and I noticed that most people who are very smart, or whether they're men of science or men of knowledge or whatever, they kind of like the more they know about like scientific knowledge or real world situations and whatnot, the further they become from they distance themselves from that realm, like that faith or whatever you may want to call it. Not necessarily religion, don't have to be it doesn't have to be religion. It's just a belief in a supreme being or things like that. And I noticed that was kind of like that was a that was predicted, so to speak. Like I don't know if it's the Bible specifically or even other older scrolls, and they kind of beat us to that. Like that's exactly why Adam and Eve were forbidden to eat the apple, because then they'd start to ask questions and they'd start to feel like they're on the same level as the God. And that the smarter you become, the lesser you need that. You know what I'm saying? And whoever wrote the Bible, if it was written by a man or if it was indeed the work of God or if it is indeed the most powerful book in the world, kind of even predicted that. Like there's even an answer to that. Like if I can say, oh, the more I read, the more I realize that the world was created with a big bang or that the universe is like this, that there's no such thing as this. But then again, the Bible kind of beat you to it because that's exactly
Yeah,
why it was
that's
forbidden
their
to eat that
tool.
apple.
That's their
Exactly.
tool. You do not question things, and that is my issue here. Like,
Exactly.
why can I not
Exactly.
question things? So I was raised. My dad was never spiritual, though he was at some point. But I think it was never in his being. So even up until the moment he died, I think he brought it with him because we were like talking about, oh, we're gonna bury you somewhere, blah blah. Because we're gonna visit you and whatnot. My dad was like, huh? Bisitaw? Ano bisitaw? Patay naman na. So that was his.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm not there.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
such thing as So that's how he looked at things, and I think he's a Marxist. So like it's more of like these like I don't know what to call it, materialism. Not I no, I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, he didn't believe in these things, and so in my case as well, it's more of like I was raised to like question things, like to
Mm.
be critical in things. Like being critical is good, like being a critical thinker,
Don't just
like
take things at face value. Like just because
exactly,
somebody
like
said it to you without,
yeah.
cold
So
hard facts,
so if
all right.
somebody tells you
Yeah.
like you can't question things, then that's already a red flag for me. Why can't I question things? So it's more of like, and it's fine. Like I said, it doesn't matter if people believe it. It's fine because like maybe some people need it. I mean, I don't need it.
It helps them get through the day.
Exactly. Like for me, I believe that okay, when you were saying about like getting sick and whatnot, I firmly believe that people need healthcare and not prayers. When you say, "Oh, I'll pray for you," like no, that baby needs to be in the hospital. Like no matter how hard you pray, if you don't bring that baby to the hospital, that baby's gonna,
Maybe you'll
that
die.
baby's gonna die. Like if like okay, my daughter's premature, right? She was born
Yeah.
like what 30. Well, how many weeks? Like
A
33
month? Oh,
weeks, 34
oh, that's like
weeks.
really
Right?
that
Yeah.
much
And
earlier?
I am lucky I'm here in Japan because we have a really good healthcare system. So when she was born that way, it wasn't really difficult because I just had to sign
What if
forms and
somebody
whatnot.
told you that God put you in Japan for that?
No, I mean, no, God did not pay for my. Yeah, this could go on. Like, yeah, God gave you that
I know.
job.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
it could go on
I
and
get it.
on
I
and
get
on.
it. I get what you're saying. I'm not disputing that because I myself I'm not religious. All
They
right.
don't even
I'm
believe
not
in God in
religious.
Japan. They have a
I
different
I don't
God.
even I don't even want to be. I don't want to be a hypocrite too. And Rye's not even baptized yet. I mean, mainly because of
Mm,
COVID. But I'm not like I said. I don't. I'm not. But I have like. There's this thing like I have a spiritual side. I can't quite. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm like this or I'm like that. I'm this particular religion. I believe in all this because, like I said, if it comes from a human being, that's like for me. It's kind of like if it's a if you're listening to your fellow man telling you how to walk about your life and how to deal with your faith, something's wrong there. Basically, that's just my thing because it's like what Jack LaLanne said: if man made it, I'm not eating it. So he's like a nature guy. He lives by that principle. So it's kind of
mm,
like the same thing with me. If a man declares it, I'm not quite buying it right away, because
mm.
it's a man. A man can be corrupted, a man can be
Right.
corrupted,
Somebody can
and,
just
and a
tell you
man
that, oh,
can be
God
deceived.
spoke to me.
Yeah, a
Like,
man
really?
can be
When?
deceitful,
When did
and
this
and
happen?
and it's
How?
proven many
Your
times. But
telephone?
but spiritually, I do have the spiritual side, and I think regardless of whether I believe in it strongly or have a particular identity of what that spiritual side is within me, I think that's kind of what separates us from just the animals, basically, is that we have that option to be spiritual if we choose to, whether it's an emotional
Mm,
relationship with myself or it's an inner being, and maybe because I'm artistic or whatever. But I did experience something during my childhood that can't be explained. And about that childhood experience I went through,
right,
and
right,
and I told you, I I experienced our old house help visit, like made her presence felt, and she was like dead.
right,
You know what I'm saying? I didn't see her, but I knew it in my deepest of my being, that
right.
she was there. And that cannot be explained. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know what it is. So I'm not saying like there's a heaven and a hell. I'm just saying like what the heck was that? Was that her essence that was left around the house when she passed away? Because I don't necessarily like believe in ghosts. That's the last thing I would want to see. And I'm not very sensitive. I don't have a third eye, but because I felt that, I'm like up to this day, like I can't explain it. And I experienced something too when I was in Bangkok. And I don't have a third eye. I'm not a sensitive guy. I'm not, like I can't tell if this place is like that. I'm not that kind of person. But I felt things that could be explained by science, at least as far as I try to study it. I mean, you know, it's a feeling, it's a smell, it's whatever. It's an experience of the senses, and when I experienced those, I was like, okay, as long as I cannot find the full explanation or answer to these experiences, then I'm gonna have to assume that okay, there's a possibility that there could be something beyond what we see physically in the realm. That's just my thing because I experienced it and I can't explain it. Like me, I'm not a stupid dude. We're open minded guys, man. We're
Right.
way too open minded when you think about it, right? And I'm not gonna come up with a BS story just to make myself, No, totally. Like when people tell me ghost stories, I'm immediately like, yeah, right. That's just your imagination. I'm that kind of guy. So when I experienced it, I'm like, I'm not necessarily directing it to religion. And that might not have nothing to do with religion. It could just be her essence that I ended up smelling and feeling, and you know, it was so strong. And I was a kid. I could not have made that up in my mind. I mean, even our dog reacted to it. Even the temporary house help we hired reacted to it. So I think that's it. I think that's it. Because of that experience, that kind of like strengthened my belief in that there is something beyond what science can explain. And I don't really want to unless I read up something and that there could be a scientific explanation, like people will go through traumatic experiences, can actually go through an experience where they relive a person's existence or something. Then okay, I might say, all right, if I'm not the only one who
That could
experienced
be
it,
it.
and there's actually
Right.
right, because it could be right, it could be
Yeah, it could
maybe
be.
because I went
Yeah,
through a right, I
the
went through a
trauma and
physical
whatnot. Yeah.
thing, maybe yeah, the trauma, and then I just like imagine it in my head, and and I made something out of nothing. Then I would like, okay, all right, and that's one out of,
Right.
so that's
But whatever the
clear.
case may be, I mean, you can
So we're
believe
talking
what you want.
superstitions
It's
here.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being spiritual. I mean, it's healthy too. For people, it's
Yeah,
healthy. Like you
yeah.
can be spiritual and
It is
not be
healthy. It is
religious,
healthy.
right?
It can be healthy.
So
It can be healthy.
there's that. So with me, it's yeah, like I do meditation and whatnot. When I have my, especially during the winter, when I get the chance to be in the tub, and I would use that as my meditation time. But I don't meditate
Yeah.
on things like those super religious stuff, and I don't read stuff anymore and whatnot. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's more of with me is I just like stop being that person back when I was
Where
very
your life,
um
your existence, your actions, your decisions was somewhat controlled by your religion. I think that for me
yes,
is like,
yes. I really had a lot of issues
right?
with
Like even your opinions
because
about
yes,
people, right?
yes,
Even your opinions of
yes.
right? That's
Right.
I was
Like for
never
example,
like
like
that. So
Manny
I don't have a
Pacquiao.
problem.
Exactly, right? Like
Yeah.
Manny. Manny's like, well, he doesn't hate gay people. He has gay relatives. He has probably gay employees and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure he loves them. But because he reads all these stuff and he believes in these things, so he would say, like, oh, you can't do that. It's you can't be gay because it's bad. So I mean, people would misquote you and whatnot, and they will they will go woke 2.0 on you and just like accuse
Mm-hmm.
you of being like cruel or like a fascist or whatever. But it's just that because he
Yeah.
reads all these stuff and he thinks that it's harmless to tell people like, no, you can't, because in the book it says like this, like that. So it's that sort of issue that I have, because well, I have friends who are gays, and I can't just tell them that. So it was like, all right, fine. But then the funny thing is, I have gay friends who actually read these things and they agree with it. Like that's just the funny part. So I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, me,
Yeah.
I'm going all out on you, right? I'm like, I
You, can-
support you on it, and now you're telling me that no, I'm not
you know
for
you
these things. I'm like, but that's for
you
you.
can believe, things into existence. You know that. That's how powerful our mind is. You can believe things
No,
into
no, 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 no,
existence
dude,
if you
dude.
believe it enough. It is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, here's
right?
the thing.
You
You should read the book
like
that
like
I'm
like
reading.
like your wife. If she believes that you have a mistress, you
Yeah,
do.
but that's a different thing. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's a very dangerous thing to thread on, because people who have mental issues would have a would have a more difficult time dealing with their thoughts and whatnot. Like that's not true. You cannot believe things into existence. No matter how much you believe that you're winning the lottery, you're not going to win it. That's not happening. You
I
know what I'm
agree. I
saying?
mean, like,
All right. So, because like, okay, but what you're saying is true. Like, if you have like, I know what you're getting at. Like, we're in a relationship with people, and they would believe like you're having a mistress, you're having an affair, and like, holy crap, that's not. See, that's them dealing with their thoughts, and it's not even true.
you're a realist. What you are is you're a realist. I mean, I don't know if that's been a proper term, but that's a term I use for people who are in touch with reality, And it sadly that's not that you can't say that about very many Filipinos. Very many Filipinos, they have a patron something. Very many Filipinos, they believe in this, whatever. Very many Filipinos would I mean, and like I said, when you have nothing, you'll cling to anything. And I think
Yes.
that's why religion is
Yes.
very effective in poor countries,
Yes. It
because first
thrive
off,
in
these
poor
people are
countries.
not educated, right? So they'll believe in these people are not educated. These people rely on miracles to get them through their situations,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it gets them. Like I said, if it gets you through the day, go for it. I mean, we're just fortunate, I guess, where we've been exposed to things and we've seen things from a broader perspective, and we can see things that maybe some people can't, because they just they're very limited in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the exposure, so they believe what they want to believe. But like I said, I think for that's why I say I'm not religious. Like my mom would say the same thing. My mom would be like, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Like I don't want to lose that side of me, because then I'll feel like I will be an empty shell. And like what you said, maybe some people need that. And for me, I kind of need that. It's like I need that to keep me sane. I need that to
Mm-hmm.
make me realize that not everything is within my control. And not everything depends on humans, or not everything is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That there are, right, it's just for me, it's like kind of like, yeah, it so that I don't, because I'll feel helpless if everything is as it is, and I just like 100% fully invest in that, though it is though I know in my heart it is. I would just like to maybe pretend that there is a spiritual side to things, and there, you
Mm-hmm.
know just so that I know that that's just so I can limit myself and put myself, below a certain level,
Right.
because I don't know,
It's
man.
like your safety net. You know,
It is
you
like a
just don't want to
safety
be
net.
too
It keeps me
cocky.
sane. It keeps me sane. It keeps me sane.
Right. You don't want to be too
It keeps me
cocky because
sane.
that's when things happen when you're too cocky. And like, all right,
Yeah.
things go south when you're too cocky. So you want to have
Yeah.
that thing like, oh, there's somebody up there or somebody out
I want to.
there.
I, I want to pretend that there's a gray area.
All
It's
right,
not just
okay,
black and white.
that's
It's
cool.
not
That's
just
cool.
fiction or fact. It's not just fiction or
Mm,
fact. I want to kind of pretend that there is something that's that, because we have dreams, man, and I have dreams that stick to me. And sometimes I have dreams that I feel like it's a message, and I don't necessarily follow it, let it dictate my daily activities,
right.
but these certain things affect us emotionally that maybe doesn't affect animals, right?
You know what my friend would say? Kulang lang kaglaag, Brad. Hilaag lang na. Because
Not
of this
even, man.
pandemic, we
No,
all deal
no,
with a lot of
what?
stuff.
No, because I'll be the first to tell you that that's not the solution. I'm the
Well,
first to
it's not
tell
a
you that
solution, but it will keep your
the,
things.
the
It will
peace
keep
that
your
I
mind
found in
off
my life,
things.
it's not from the laag, dude. It's certainly not from the
No, I mean,
laag.
okay, yeah,
That's not
get
where I
that.
found
But
peace.
with me, the thing is, I need all these other things to keep my mind off these stresses in life. Because if like for example, like this kind of
Spirituality.
no, I mean spirituality can
No, I'm
like
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
it
kidding.
can make
I'm kidding.
it can make or break. I get yeah. Some people, but then spirituality can just like you're sitting down there and you think more about it. That's what happens. But you have to deal with it at some point as well. But then you have
Yeah.
got to have all these things in your life to make it balanced. So that's what I do. I have to balance everything. I have to have all these other things in my life so that I could keep myself sane. Right? I got to have the
Yeah.
basketball. I got to have
Yeah.
like friends
See,
and
that's the
people to
thing with
talk to.
you. Everything has to be an actual thing, right?
Right?
Everything has to be an actual thing. You don't have a virtual pillow to lie on. That's why I have my
Because what's
spiritual
the
side, because
point? I
that's
mean,
my virtual
imaginary
pillow to lie
things.
on.
All right. Okay, hang on.
No, it's
People,
no,
hang on, wait. People keep sending us stuff about our topic because we're straying from our topic. I feel so guilty.
hey, we're talking about spirituality. That's superstition. My spiritual,
They,
that's superstition.
dude, they're just dismissing our conversation and they
Bawal
keep on
daw
sending.
manilig.
I know. John's like, "Hoy, bawal daw manilig sa gabi." Like
Like
not even
winning the
reacting to what
lottery.
we're talking about, right?
I
Yeah.
well, Richard, we're okay. Richard said, not so religious. I tend to see things as part of statistics. Some may see random stuff happen as good luck or bad luck, but to me, these are all part of statistics.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Right.
like,
Yeah.
and then like, he has to pee outside. I bet he's gonna say, "Tabi po,
I
pustahan
know.
na ita."
Yeah, and John has an advice for you. Rod, the next time you pee outdoors, pagdala og KitKat, bribe the nuno. Kumbawa
Yeah,
nuno. All right. Wow.
I wish it
Kumbawa
was that
nuno.
easy.
All right.
I wish
Oh,
it was that
nuno.
easy.
Ayaw
Ayaw
panilig
daw
og
pagi.
silig kog basta gabi. All right. Okay. Bawal daw manilig sa gabi.
Ay-
Yeah, I've heard that before. Um,
There's one from Dexter. Dexter. Oh yeah, that you can
ayaw
read
daw
whichever one.
panghinguko gabi labi na mong biyernes. Like, why? Why not on Fridays?
What's a panghinguko? Cut your
Cutting your
nails?
nails. Yeah,
Cut your
cutting your
nails?
nails.
Oh my god,
Uh,
they find something for everything.
exactly, right? Like winning the lottery, some people would probably say you got lucky because the heavens favored you. But according to science, you have 1 in 14 million chance of winning the lottery. See,
Well, depends
science.
on which lottery. Depends on which lottery.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. 1 in
Superstition. All right,
14
let's
million
let's go
chance
back
of
to the
winning the
list.
lottery.
Blame your missing things. This is the last one actually. Blame your missing things on elves.
Kuwas the
This I've
windy.
heard before. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, hold
Holy
on, hold on.
crap!
Hold on. Here's one. Here's, I don't know if this is superstition, all right, or just plain old stupidity. But I don't want to include my mom in the conversation because she's like your dad, you know. She's a realist. Like I'm talking about
Right,
like my mom. If I say anything silly about all, she will just say, "I think corny OA." She will just say like, if I go all emotional and crap, she'll be like,
right,
"Go
right, right.
A." She doesn't have time for that crap, you know.
Yes,
Like
my
she's not
dad
gonna
would say
fall for
that.
your.
My dad
Yeah,
would say,
she doesn't fall for
"Hi,
that crap.
emotional, ragay ka
Yes,
emotional."
that's my mom, and I can get emotional, but my mom's like she doesn't fall for that crap. But you know what? Still, at the end of the day, when we're at home and she, you know, she hears noises and stuff, uy, may R80. Nandiyan na naman yung mababait. Nandiyan na naman yung daga. Daga yan, daga. Rat. You can say it. She's like, R80, na naman yung mga R80. She will not, like, uy, yung
No,
mababait to.
because you know why?
She's a
Because you know why?
lawyer, dude.
Because these, but okay, there's probably scientific explanation for that.
What, it
Because
happened to
these,
you? It happened to
the no,
you?
no, 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 no. It was
You
Junie
can't
who
get yung
introduced me to that.
sapatos, no?
It was Junie who introduced me to that. No, I've never had rat problems. Um, all right. So it was Junie. I was about to knock on wood because I said rat, and I don't believe in things. It's the OCD in me. Anyway, it was Junie who introduced me to that. We were talking inside the studio, and we were talking about like scary stuff, right? And it was like,
R80.
dude, don't believe in these things, right? If you hear things like outside, clanking and whatnot, it's probably just the RAT. I was like, what? The RAT? It's like, what the? What's an RAT? And he
Don't
whispered
believe
it
in
to me. He whispered. I was like, why didn't you just say it? And he was like, dude, they understand. But it could be that there's a scientific explanation for this because they're getting experimented on. So maybe they're the smartest beings ever. Well, we don't know that. Why are
See, look
they,
at you. You hear yourself.
why are they
I'd
always the
rather be
subject for
spiritual than believe
experiments?
that baloney.
No,
That's
why are
straight
they
out of
picked
fiction. That's
as
straight out of a movie, man. What are you? It's like an 80s movie. What are you talking about? Gremlins?
they're always the subject of
You watch too
experiments.
many Steven Spielberg films.
But I don't know. Maybe that's a scientific
Lab.
explanation there.
Why would lab
They're
rats
very
be in my
smart.
house? You know what I'm
They're
saying?
probably very
We don't even
smart.
have
We
a
don't
lab in
know.
this country. Ayaw lang yung pag-mention Gariti. Don't spell it out loud.
Okay,
Oh,
see,
man. See?
Gab's Gab's mom also says RAT. Richard, my mom refers to these things as little friends. Nanay baby
I
too. She
know.
said RAT.
My mom says mababait. You know, she says, I mean, Richard, our little friends, your little friends, you know what they do to
Say
your house?
hello to
You
my
know what they
little
do to your
friend.
things? How can you call them friends? What are you
Because if you
talking
call them,
about?
dude, if you call them enemies, they will
They already
they will
bit,
spite on
they
your stuff.
already treat you like an
They
enemy.
will
They're
chew on
destroying
your
your
stuff.
house already.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
oh my God. I mean, people talk about, questioning like spirituality and religion and start believing in lab rats.
All right. But okay.
No, I mean,
Yeah,
kidding,
yeah. That's
kidding
true.
aside, kidding aside. You know what? I think my mom experienced. There was one time where I think my mom's sandals or something was nibbled on by a rat, and maybe by coincidence, maybe she like said, "Oh, mga daga," or she chased one, and then the next day, she looked at her sandals and they were
You
nibbled
never
on by
know,
a rat.
man. You never
And
know. They
she
might be that
see, I
smart.
told you it's experiences. Like I said, like that experience that I had, that paranormal
Right.
experience that I had
Right.
with our old
Right.
housemaid who passed
It's,
away and like kind of made her
some
presence.
people didn't
I
experience
can't get
it.
over that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. It's based on experience. But anyway, like have you ever heard that? Like the windy, like when something's missing. My mom used that a lot. Like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe na the windy there sa tumbalay.
Oh, you know what's creepy? Have you
What?
seen you've seen Sixth Sense, right?
Right.
Remember when the kid had a talk with the mom, and
Mm-hmm.
the mom like kind of like had this thing. She was very sentimental when she talks about her mom, because she felt like her mom, she wasn't very close to her mom who passed away, basically the grandmother of the boy. And the boy said, um "Mom, remember when you would always blame me for taking the clip from your drawer? It was grandma, like
Right.
like a butterfly clip." And the boy said it was the grandma. And the mom like wouldn't believe him. Like the mom's like, "Why would you lie? If you took the butterfly clip, that's okay, I can accept it. Just tell me that you took it. Don't include your dead grandma into the conversation." And he goes, "But ma, she talks to me, and she even wanted me to tell you that when you were in a ballet recital as a little girl, and you were upset because you thought she didn't make it to the recital, she was actually there, and she saw you from the back of the auditorium, and she was so proud of you." And the mom started crying because like there's no way the son would know that. No, I know this is not related to our superstition thing, but what I'm
Is
saying
this
is, it's
is
not
this
necessarily
Saturday
the
night scary
duende.
stories?
It's not. It's not necessarily the duende that took it. It could have been like a dead relative.
See, I'm telling you, I am telling you, this guy's a bully. He's having issues tonight. You would know that by the fact that he is in his couch and he wants other people to get through or to go
Say
through
hello to
whatever
my
he's going
little.
through right
Say
now.
hello to
Yeah,
my
I know,
little
right?
friend.
That little friend. Saturday night
Dude,
scary stories right
if
there.
he starts moving, if he starts, this is not automated, but if he starts moving, sums up.
Yeah.
Ice, you
That's the
better
thing.
start believing in something. You have to renew your faith. If he starts
My
moving,
dad
okay,
always,
I'm
you know
not.
what? My dad would always say, if these things are true, he would have been dead a long time ago. Because he would walk through woods and through like those
Okay,
scary stories about like there's a big manghan somewhere in our village, and he would
okay.
walk by it
You know,
every
you
night
know,
and
you
nothing
know what's
happened to
blown
him.
what what's blown my mind through the years, and still
What?
like I don't know, maybe up to this day, but it's just blown my mind through the years. Noli De Castro, right? Anchor news guy of
Yeah,
the
magandang gabi
leading news
bayan. Magandang
show.
gabi bayan, right?
He's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like he's supposedly the most credible person on TV because he's hired for his credibility.
Right.
You hear him tell you the news. He's primetime anchor person, anchor news guy, and yet he's also hosting all these baloney shows, right?
Yeah, because it's
Like,
TV,
I mean,
right? It's TV.
I know, but why don't they hire like Willie Revillame for that? Why would you hire like the guy who's like in charge of your news, where you're supposed to
Well,
be
he probably
credible,
enjoys it.
talking
He
about a
probably
talking
enjoys it.
about a freaking dancing figurine, or like like a floating coffin or something? I mean, that just blows my mind. I'm like, you're literally like, what am I to believe here? Am I did you put him there so that people will believe that the ghost stories are true? So you put Noli de
Probably.
Castro there? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I
why
don't
don't
know.
they
It's
put a
there's something
comedian
about
there?
like people talking about stuff, right? I mean, it gets to you. I think it's in your brain. We have that thing in our brain called the amygdala, and you start talking about things, and boom, there you go. That's the amygdala speaking to you. Like, oh, there's danger. It might be true. It might not be true, because it's always a
Okay,
false positive.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Can something that you have not seen, heard, experienced, witnessed, whatever yet, can it exist in your mind? Can you fabricate a thought, or it's all
yeah.
based on your pre-existing things?
No, it's like it's
Can you?
well,
No,
well,
can you fabricate an alien being that you haven't seen yet, or the alien being you're fabricating is based on the movie aliens that you've seen, or right? Can
well.
you?
Who knows? The brain is a complicated thing. A lot of things
No,
go
but
through
can
it.
you? But I mean, you think you can? Do you believe that a person can? create something that he has not experienced or seen yet?
I mean, these authors who, like these authors, these filmmakers who created brilliant stuff that scared people into, to believing these things,
Yeah, okay,
right?
so why would we be able to comprehend what that author was writing about if we ourselves don't know what it is? So that means it's something that we are also familiar with, right?
No, it's
You
it's
know what I'm
it's it's
saying? Because I mean, if he was, because it's not like he was saying, "Oh, this bululu o the balala, the balilililili." Like, dude, we would understand a thing. But he's talking about things that exist, like okay, a black cube floating in into space, or all of those things we know about. All those words we
yeah,
know what they
because he
mean.
said that there's a black cube floating, but well, it's a cube. We all know
Exactly,
what a cube is, and we know
exactly.
what
See,
flying is.
I know. So he hasn't said anything that has not existed yet. He's not creating anything that's not created. Whatever is
No,
being
it's a
created
it's
has
a
already.
way of telling stories. That's what it is. You know that's all there is to it. You know what I'm saying? So
I
that
based on
like
the things that already exist.
your brain is like a TV, right? That's what it says on the book that I'm reading. It's full of junk, and you don't have to watch all these things in your head, right? So that's what it is. It's like on the TV. Like
But you need
you have a lot of
but
things
you
are
need
in
it.
there. Like, you don't
But
need it.
you
It's
need
just
it.
like that's the way it
You
is.
you need it. You need it. That is how you feel, dude. How will you determine the diamond from the rough if they were all diamonds,
Well,
right?
yeah, that's different. That's like
Okay,
being,
you,
like
you
that.
know
But
it's a
that's
diamond because it's in the rough, right? So
yeah,
you
but
need the
that's
junk to
reality.
find the
You
treasure.
can touch the diamond. You can touch these things, but there are things that, for example, like people with OCD, and for you, for example, like your fear of your son getting to an accident because he's driving the bike. You can't think that into reality because that's just in your head. Like you can't, like, yeah, whether you like it or not, yeah, it might happen, it might not happen, but it's not coming from your head. It's not because of you. It's those things. Like,
Yeah,
you can choose
but
not to
these
think
fears,
about it.
but these fears, some of them are justified, not necessarily because they're gonna happen, but they're justified because these things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
not
these
necessarily
things happen,
done, or, but it's
but the thing is with
occurred and it
people with
can occur.
yeah, but the thing is with people with OCD, like they would dwell on it, and it could affect your life. It could affect your kid's life. Like, for example, if you were like if you really had like a bad case of that, you might not want Raj to learn the bike because you're scared that he might get into an accident, and you would stop him from at all costs, like, do not learn the bike, do not go out there. So but you don't have you don't have it that bad. So you're still reasonable because, like, you stepped out of it, and you're like, all right, whatever. Like, okay, you learned the bike, you have the helmet, like, you're not stupid, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. But some
No, but
people
I'm not.
can't get out of that.
I'm not talking about an
Get
event. I'm not talking about thinking an event into existence. I'm talking about like a particular thought. Anything can something fill your head that doesn't exist yet, or is everything that materializes in our head
well,
all
we have
part of
what we
a
call
collective?
imagination.
It's
We
it's,
can just
it's our
like
collective
imagine
subconscious.
things, right?
Yeah,
I
but
don't know, like,
even
that's
your
a very complicated.
imagination is limited. Even your imagination is limited. How can
No,
you think
it's
of
not
something that
limited.
yet?
That's
Okay,
imagination. It's
okay.
unlimited.
Imagine something that
Like
doesn't exist.
imagination.
What? A unicorn? That doesn't exist, but that's like a horse with a thing on its head. So there's that practically still those things exist. I mean,
Unicorn
there's
with big
things are being.
boobs, and really sexy legs.
See, there you go. Boobs exist. You've seen a boob. You've seen legs. You've seen a horse.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
all
literally,
these things can, like, you can.
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, we cannot think of something that we have not either witnessed, heard, experienced in our
Yeah, because it's all
minds.
based on yeah, because it's all based on these things.
So that means we're not quite gods yet, right? We're just basically recycling stuff. Like whatever it is that we think is unique is just a combination of things that's already we've seen or witnessed. We're just recreating it into something else, right?
All right.
Like,
Here's the
you know
thing.
what I'm saying?
Back in the day, the people did not thought about
Wally,
like
nagwali,
smartphones.
nagwali.
Smartphones, that's beyond their imagination back then, but it
Yes,
came to
yes, yes,
pass,
yes,
right?
yes.
So these
Yeah, yeah.
people, as we evolve, so evolution, as we evolve, we We understand things better. So we come up
No.
with nicer
Yeah.
things, more convenient
Yeah.
things to help us with our daily life. So back in
Yeah.
the day, people would think that it's absurd to have a flying object up there. But now we
Yeah.
have airplanes, we have rocket ships, we have, you
Yeah.
know,
So we
we
created
have
that stuff, right?
drones. Right. So back then they
Okay.
couldn't imagine it. Like because they haven't seen it. But because of
Okay.
Da Vinci and other people, they started, all right, so it's a little, but not all people can do that. But there are people who have that gift, right?
Have you have you read Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol?
Not yet.
Okay. Basically, it talks a little bit about the Masons, the Freemasons, and all this. That's basically what it's about. But it also delves into this idea that people at one time we were very intelligent, like we were almost godlike status in terms of
Right.
intellect.
See?
And what something happened that we forgot everything, and that now we are relearning everything. That's
Hmm.
why back then, people were in calesas and in wagons, and then we slowly created the cars, and now we have internet, and now we're delving into going into space and all that
Hmm.
stuff. So those things we've already accomplished before, but we just like forgotten we had to relearn it. Like that's
Right.
kind of like
See?
the
What a great
that's what I'm saying.
imagination Dan Brown has,
No, but it could.
telling
You know
us all
what?
these
There-
stories.
No, because that's what I was trying to get to. I was saying like, how can we imagine things into existence? That means these thoughts could possibly have been in our heads already, and we're just
See?
relearning and we're
This is what
thinking
you
them
call a
again.
mind fuck. You're being mind fucked every day. That's
See,
what it is.
now do
The
you hear
pandemic is
yourself?
getting to
Do
you.
you hear yourself? Do you hear? That's exactly what people were probably saying to people like Einstein and Tesla or Beethoven or wherever these
No, I
brilliant
mean,
people were ahead of their time when they were
dude,
saying these things. That's what the people were saying back then. Oh, you
no.
people were
Here's
were
the
burned
thing.
at the stake,
You're
accused of
talking about
witches.
mathematics and you're not talking about anything. You're talking trash. You're just talking trash. It's
Exactly,
different.
because it's way beyond your comprehension at this time and
No, okay,
space.
what really are you trying to say? What are you
Okay,
trying to say here?
dude, if you were living in the
You're not talking
1800s
about
and
like,
I told okay, if we were living in the 1800s right now, and then I was telling you about internet or smartphones, you'd say the exact same thing. You'd be like,
yeah, well,
dude, you're talking trash. It's, you know what I'm saying? So that's
but
exactly what I'm trying to get to. It's like
yeah,
it's
but that's so
trash now,
specific.
but
But
it
what are
might
you
not
really
be in the
trying to say
future.
right now? Because I really don't know what you're
I'm trying.
saying. You're not talking about like, oh, there's gonna be internet. You're not saying anything. You're just like,
No, what? No.
for all the
See, you were paying
listeners who are
attention.
Bisaya, if this is in a Bisaya conversation, this would be like,
But
imo raman
but
kong gilibog-libog, brad. Gilibog-libog raman ko nimo, brad.
dude,
Hubog na dyan ko ba? Hubog na ko.
exactly,
Have you, see, here's the
exactly.
thing.
That's why this
Imagine if Rod,
conversation should not take place with people who think that way, because that's what
I
they
mean,
would
imagine if
say.
we're having a drinking session right now. This is what it is. Like just being Maoy and stuff, just libog-libog lang.
No, dude, think about it. Think about it. I know it sounds silly, right? It is. Maybe it
It
is
is
silly. We
silly.
don't know who's to prove that it is, right? We're not in the future yet, not knowing yet if
All right,
there's
okay,
truth to
so
what
yeah,
I'm
we
saying,
probably
or
don't know
whatever
that. Yeah,
idea it was
that might be
originally.
the
But what I'm
case.
Yeah, but what I'm
That might be
saying
the
is,
case.
we're talking about superstitions here, and these are sillier things, and people believe it, and it's lasted generations, and no one has proven
Okay,
a squat of
okay.
any of these
No, no,
things,
no,
and
no,
it
no. No.
still
What
exists,
we
and families still.
no, okay,
So
you
what I'm
can.
saying is,
I can't believe you just said that. You cannot put superstition and Albert Einstein in the same conversation. I mean,
no,
Albert
but back
Einstein
when,
wasn't
but but
superstitious. He was an
but back okay,
inventor. He was a
not Einstein,
visionary.
but back exactly, but back then he wasn't. Like a lot of the visionaries, a lot of the geniuses we call geniuses now, they weren't seen as geniuses when they first came out.
Yeah,
They
but
were
they weren't
considered
also
what,
counting staircases and
like
saying oro plata mata. They weren't saying those things.
yeah,
They were like
but you
thinking
know
of
what? Still, whether it was EMC squared or it was Tesla's, electricity, whatever, people were still like, "That's not gonna work. You're
yeah, I
silly. You're
know,
a
but how
crazy
can it be the
person locked
same
up in."
EMC squared or Tesla? How can it be the same with do not pee and not say tabi po? How can that be equal?
Because you know why it's the same? Because the mindset of the people not believing it or believing it is the same. The ignorance is still there. This, and the sad thing is we live in modern times, but the ignorance is still there. And at
Ignorance to
least the
what?
ignorance back then, there's merit to it, because the ignorance back then, people were just like the guys we're talking
Okay,
about are
okay,
visionaries. So go
here's the
ahead.
thing. I know what you're saying. Here's the thing. But what are you really trying to say? Ignorance to
Tagay na
what?
lang nato ni.
Tagay na. Shot na, Brad. Shot na. Kay gilumot na. Gilumot na.
But the problem is my partner doesn't drink. See, I
Here's
drink.
the thing.
This would be
You
perfect
know, you
conversation
know
for
what I miss?
palahubog.
You know what I miss? Like when people are, making tagay and conversation like this
Yes, see,
happens and it gets
like
so
what John
passionate.
said.
Like, right, okay, like, okay, the conversation gets passionate and the tagay stays really long at a particular spot with that one person, and some guys or one of the guys in the group would start saying like, and it would be so serious like, halata brad kada mo pa tong ano but hita tong naging adlaw, and everybody would be like
Dugay
ganun
kay
no
mo
say
tagay.
nagi baril
Dugay,
dito sa kanto ganun
dugay
man
kay mo tagay.
dugay kay mo inom dugay kay mo.
And the funny thing is, the guy who's supposed to take the shot, he's like, "Oh, babay." Like he doesn't get it right away.
Yeah, I
Like he
know,
won't
right?
get it right away, right? He won't like. He's
That's
like,
what I
"Oh, babay."
miss.
What's it,
That's
tabo?
what I miss. Filipinos. I
I
just
mean,
love
yeah, okay, but
Filipinos.
basically, what I'm saying is that's exactly kind of like, and I'm not a Freemason, all right? So I'm not going to speak on their behalf. My Lolo was, but I'm not going to speak on their behalf. I'm just saying, just reading that book, it kind of opens up an idea. It's not a fact. It's an idea, and you have to believe me. A lot of these things, the internet, whatever, it all started out as an idea,
I
and it's,
know.
you
I
know,
get that. I
some
really
ideas
get
can
that.
can be reality, some ideas cannot be.
I
But you
understand
have
that,
to,
Rod.
but you
But
have to
I've been
think though.
saying, the whole time. Yes, I do. But what are you really trying to say? Because you haven't said
What?
anything so far.
No, no, no. What I'm
Nothing
trying,
in
what see, you
particular.
just no, you refuse to understand it. What
We're
I was
running
trying to
around
say
in
is that
circles.
no, I was not running around circles. You just refuse to understand what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is
What
that
are you trying
these
to
thoughts,
say?
these thoughts that's coming into our heads and the things that we are creating now, we've already done that. Supposedly, there is that idea that we already have that level of intelligence. We are just relearning it. Because you
Yeah, it
cannot
could be.
because you
It
cannot
could
create
be.
something that doesn't exist. You
Yeah,
know what
it could be.
even your
Yeah.
imagination, right? And
Yeah, well, it
I'm
could be.
trying to make that connection. That's why I asked you the question, can you create something without using things from your subconscious, the things that you
Like,
have
I
read,
don't know.
seen,
Who
whatever.
cares?
Exactly. But you were talking about superstition here,
I
you
know.
know?
I
So
know. I know what I'm saying. But the thing is, like, yeah, could be. See, that's the first key to everything. Like, you have to accept things. Like, acceptance. Yeah, it might be. Like, who
can you
knows?
answer that question though? You never answered it. Like, could you create something that you without
Well,
taking
I
anything
don't
from your
know. I
subconscious?
don't know. Yeah, maybe, maybe not.
Well, there you
But
go.
but the thing is with with all these things, like people from like what I said, case in point, people from 300-400 years ago, they never thought of these things that we have right now. So there's like this sort of evolution that's happening. But then whatever the case may be, well, we
But we
don't
wouldn't
know,
know.
right? Yeah,
But we
but
don't
what's
know.
important is
The
we don't
Egyptians
know.
were ahead of their time.
Yeah.
The Egyptians were ahead of their time. You look at the
Yes.
pyramids that
Yes,
they
I
created.
agree.
How did they
I
create
know.
that? I
But
mean,
then
there was some
it's
stuff that
that's
existed back then
history
that's
long
mind
gone. Well,
blowing
it's
even
still
in this day
there.
and age.
You can go to Egypt and you
Yeah.
can still see the
So
pyramids. But the thing
it's
is,
either we were already in that state, we just got dumbed down, then now we're coming back into
whatever the
relearning
case
things,
may
and
be,
some
what's
people are ahead.
important is,
Maybe
uh,
Elon Musk is ahead. Maybe
I don't know. Yeah,
what's
maybe,
his
maybe.
name is
But what
ahead.
important is what's in front of us. What's reality. So I mean, that's just how I deal with it. Like this is the reality that we have right now, right? I mean, some people they didn't have the luck to be in this generation. We are in a generation where there's almost something for for someone, or there's something for whatever for something. There's something
Yeah,
for everybody or whatever, right? Like if you get sick, you have all these things to take to make you feel better or to cure you or to make it livable for you. If there's no cure, at least there's therapy, there's treatment, right? And we're lucky.
yeah,
So that's just I think what matters, at least for me.
yeah.
But
But
then, all right.
it's constantly evolving. At the end of the day, it's constantly evolving. But then again, the superstitions would always be there, and that's that's kind of like what's mind blowing too. With all the advancements and everything, it still exists. I'm just as guilty, like I said, when I go out there, I still say tabi po, and maybe that is my spiritual side. I'm pretty sure you probably don't practice any of these things,
No,
being
I
the
did.
realist
I
that you
did.
are.
I did.
No, no,
I
I mean not
did.
now, not anymore,
No, not
not
now.
anymore.
When I was a kid, yeah, my dad would always like tell me, "That's stupid." Like whoever made it up, like well,
But it
they
got you
didn't know what
through
they're doing.
childhood, though.
Yeah, but yeah,
You know,
that's the thing. But it
because I
doesn't
mean,
make
if
any
you did,
sense, and
because if you didn't do it,
I'm
if you
not
didn't
gonna
do it
pass it
right,
on, right, to
yeah,
my
you're not
kid.
gonna
Yeah,
you're
right.
gonna end it. It ends here. It ends here. You're like what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
like
it
no.
ends. No, but what I'm saying is like if you didn't do it and you were just not doing it just to like kind of go against the flow, you'd probably have sleepless nights being stressed out about it if something happens because you didn't do it, right? And then you'd
What do
be
you
like,
mean
oh
you didn't
crap,
do
maybe
it?
because I didn't do it. Like for
Yeah, that's the
example, let's
OCD
say
speaking to you. That's the
now, like
OCD
for
speaking
example,
to you. That's like
you
we're
didn't say
both
tabi po, you
OCDs.
peed. Yeah, you peed and you didn't
We
say
both
tabi
have
po,
it.
right? And you didn't say tabi po. You're like, oh, nothing happened. And then you go to bed that night. See, I've proven it. Nothing happened.
Yeah, it's
Then you
gonna
wake
eat
up
you
and
up
your
because
your thing is
yeah,
swollen.
if
You're like,
if
oh
you have
crap, it's
OCD, it's gonna eat you up. That's what it says on the book. Like
yeah, the
these
book you're
things,
telling me about.
it's going to tell you things because that's your head, and it's hard to debate with yourself because you know the answers and you know the the counter
Yeah,
arguments that
you're going
so
against
it's really
yourself.
really
Yeah,
hard. So it's so hard. That's why you have to rewire your brain to get out of this situation because people have a really bad case of OCD. That's why, like, it's really true. There are people who don't get out of their house because they're really scared to to get sick or
and it
something.
controls them. And it
Yeah.
controls
So
them.
and it's different for every person. Like for you, it's like you thinking about your kid um, hurting themselves by accident or whatever. Me, it's like, oh, I will I, I might hurt my kid or whatever. Like
Yeah,
I'm capable of that. And you think about these things, and it's not. It's just it's there. That's why it says there. Like you have to accept those things in your head. It's just there. Just keep it there. Don't worry about it. Because what the book says, well, what the psychologist were saying that it's your reaction to those thoughts that gives you anxiety. Like like there are so many silly things in your head, right? There's so many silly things in your head, but you don't have the same reaction. But then there's boom, there's this one thing that got you, and you have that reaction, like, oh, you have this picture in your head that Raj got like hit by a truck or whatever. So that's like,
yeah,
oh man, and you're like, and that's gonna eat up on you because you have that picture, and it's like, oh man, no, 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 I can't have that, and it sometimes it will get you. But there are times that you have thought like your boss got run over by a truck, but it never gets stuck because it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like, all right, your reaction to that thought is probably like, sus, banggaan to siya, merese, right? Because that was your reaction. It doesn't really mean that
I'm
you
not
want
saying
it to
anything. I
happen.
mean, like
No, 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 no.
I
But
don't think
this is
like
an
that.
example. This is an example.
Yeah,
Like you had that thought, and your reaction was like, merese, let's say, merese. But then because your reaction is like that, it's like whatever. You just accepted it, and then it disappears. It doesn't come back to you anymore. But these things that you're
yeah,
fighting because it got into your head and you didn't like it, you reacted in a different way, and you want it out of your head. The more it stays in your head, that's what it says there. So it's really hard to rewire your brain.
so
So
you have
you
to
have got to,
accept it. Like just chill.
yeah, and you have to like stop doing like the tabi tabi po because the more you say that, the more you give credit or the more you give,
You strengthen it. You give it power.
yeah, 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 you give it power over your head. Like, oh, it's really true. I really have to say tabi tabi po, but it loses its power. And you're just like, no, I'm just gonna piss here, whatever, right?
It's kind of like Venom in the Fight Club. Like you watch those movies. It's like damn.
Yeah, I watched that
It's
one time. I
actually
have it
him.
like I know it's like it was in his head, right? Like
Fight
those
Club.
things
Yeah,
that
yeah,
were
yeah.
happening. Yeah, Fight Club. It was just
That's
like
like his. Yeah, it was like his fantasy. He's like his fantasy self. Brad Pitt was his
right, yeah.
fantasy self
So the guy
because
didn't
he was
really
this
exist. It was
guy who
actually
was
him, right?
yeah, the guy who was like doing all the things that
Yeah.
he wishes he could.
Yeah, but that's like a
Um,
bad case of. But these things are not healthy too. Like watching all these films because these things are kind of like so twisted. Like for example, what was that Leonardo DiCaprio movie? Um,
Shutter Island. Shutter
Inception,
Island.
Shutter Island
Shutter
too.
Island.
Yeah, because these people really had like those clinical, like psychological
There's one too.
problems.
There's one too. The guy from Wanted, Professor X from X Men.
Which
That
guy?
guy, he's like it was like the sequel to,
James
I think
McAvoy.
it was yes, it was a sequel to, it's like he has different identities. It was like the sequel to Unbreakable. I don't know if it
Yeah, I
was an
think I've
M Night
seen that. I
Shyamalan
think I've
movie.
seen that.
It was,
I
it's
think
like
I've
he
seen
held
that.
women hostage. He had
Right,
women
right.
like as prisoners, and then
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. Like
right,
he had
and then
different
he is like, it was
personalities.
like a different character each one.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
would
It
be
was like a
like a
different character.
kid. He
I
would be
forgot
like
what's the
a
what was that?
lady.
What was the title of that
James
movie?
McAvoy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Split,
John, you're right. Split.
Split.
Yeah,
That's
I've
it. That's
watched
it.
that too. But these things, like, yeah, like there are cases like this, but it's probably not that common, and people go through that. But yeah, that's also like dangerous for people who have OCD and who are like going through something, because you might think like, oh, I'm that, but no, you're not. You are not. It's like, so you have to stay away from these things as well, and that's why the book is telling you how to enjoy stuff that triggers you, because there are like triggers for these things.
Yeah,
So the book
yeah.
says that it will the way you rewire your brain, it will teach you how to like enjoy them again, because there will be cases that if you're going through something like with your mental health and with
Yeah,
your OCD,
but you
you
see,
would avoid these
even
things.
even the book you're reading has an effect on you. See that subconsciously, you totally forget that, but the book you read is also giving ideas into your head about how to deal with
No,
certain
because
things that
no,
you
because
otherwise
that's how
might
you
not have
deal with
thought
your
about.
you what the thing is, if you do not, like back in the day when, because it's not everybody, like not everybody struggles with their mental health. That's the problem, right? Like
Yeah,
I struggled, and I didn't even know that it was going to happen to me, because I was like, well, I'm a carefree guy, I'm a chill dude, like nothing bothers me
yeah.
up until that particular thought that I
But
told you
but
about,
but what? But
right?
was it also like a change of environment? A lot of it had to do also with the fact that you are, or no, you're okay with where you are, and
No,
it has
it's
nothing to do
probably
with that.
because of like like the pandemic happened, and
Yeah,
more things I have to deal with, and
more fears,
yeah,
more stress
yeah,
triggers.
all yeah, and I there's not just so many things happening. There's not just so many things going on in my life, and I'm the type of guy who's like on the go. I want to do a lot of things. I want to be with a lot
Yeah,
of people. You know
it's
that, like
and that and that yeah, yeah.
you're
And that was how you dealt with it. That was your that was therapy for you. That was how you dealt with it. And
yeah.
sometimes that's why we notice, like I noticed that with my wife. Like when my wife doesn't keep herself preoccupied, like she's super busy with baking, super busy working out. She could literally, like I said, she's the type of, it's like if she was a cell phone, she will not recharge until she's battery off.
Mhm.
Like me, I'll take a break when I'm only like still 55%. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that guy.
Mhm.
Like I don't exhaust myself. I don't work myself to death. My wife is the type of, and sometimes people will say, "Oh, she's hardworking," or "Oh, masipag na tao yan." Or, but sometimes we forget it could be a personality situation where if
Yeah,
they stop doing that, they will have issues. And there are people who
yeah,
also like,
that could be the
if they were
case.
busy, they stressed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
right, you know what
that's
I'm saying?
true.
And it's not necessarily because
That's why I
they're
had like two
lazy, but
jobs. So yeah,
yeah. See, and I bet there was a time back then that you probably didn't figure that out, and you just realized it, that like what you said, right? You just
yeah, I just
realized that,
realize it now
yeah, when the
when all
world
of these
slowed
things
down, and
started
all of a sudden,
happening, like with the pandemic and whatnot. I
and
was
your
like, oh
mind was
crap.
still running in
Yeah.
full,
Yes.
you were
Yes.
still like,
Yes.
two
That
hundred
is so
percent,
true. That
but
is so true.
you're like,
And a lot of
wow.
things go through your head, and you can't keep up with it, and some things get stuck there, and we're like, oh, I'm a terrible person, blah blah blah.
Well, we
So
need this show. That's why we have this. I
exactly,
mean, like I
yeah.
said,
This one
it's
helps.
therapeutic for me too.
In all
That's why
honesty,
when you ask
this
me about, yeah, it helps me too, dude. That's why when you asked me when I was doing the morning coffee thing, I was like, you know, there, you have to think about me having to live with another side of me for like so long. There is a
right.
side of me, dude, that grew up in the US for how many years, that I
Mm,
cannot talk to people about. I can talk to the Bakaka boys about stuff that meant to me back then. They couldn't relate. You know what I'm saying?
right.
My
That's
wife
true.
wouldn't be able to relate,
That's true.
right? You could, but there's certain
I
people that,
just even like rediscovered something that I used to do that I stopped doing for a while, because I moved here in Japan, and I started using English more in my job, and for the whole day it's all English for me. Back in
yeah,
the day it
you
was like,
with you it's work. With you it's work. With me it's like creativity. Like that's why I play the guitar.
right,
I
but
draw and
yeah,
play video
no,
games. With you it's
no,
work.
no,
With you it's like
no,
we
the
work or
something that I
reading, right?
rediscovered that helped me a lot back then was talking to myself. I used to talk to myself a lot back in the day. Like I would just like
Okay.
talk to myself by
Yeah.
by myself,
I mean,
talking literally, like
do
speaking
you create characters,
audibly.
or are you like
No, I
pretending
don't
that you're
create
talking to
characters.
someone?
I'm talking to myself. I'm like, I'm just talking. I'm just having a conversation with myself in English. Which
Okay.
like I'm not creating characters. I'm not creating, like no, I'm not doing that. It's I just like if something happened at
Talking to
work, then
yourself from your
yes,
perspective,
yes,
not
yes,
like
yes, yes,
from.
yeah, reaffirming stuff and whatnot. Like,
Okay.
all right, you got to do this,
Yeah.
and what if like like you try to express yourself, like the things that, but
Yeah.
because I
But
speak
you're
this,
doing it.
and it's
Dude, we all
verbally
talk to ourselves, but
in
we do it
English,
in our head. But you do it
right?
verbally,
Yeah,
right?
and also because I wanted to do it in English back then. I only use English where at the station. So that's like not enough because we only work for what 3 hours, and we don't even talk
Yeah.
straight 3 hours, right?
No, we don't. We don't.
So,
We don't.
and I would
During
like
the
to
breaks, we
communicate.
talk. Yeah.
Yes, right. So I would like to talk in English for a longer time and see if it's all a mix of everything. So now
Yeah.
that I've been using English at work and like a lot, I stopped doing that because I didn't feel the need for it to like practice English talking to myself. But then I just
Yeah.
rediscovered like, oh, it really helps a lot. Like for example, like
Yeah.
the things that I read on the book, I have to say it loud again. Like when I say like, oh, your mind can be bullied sometimes. You have to remember that they bully you. You have to push back. Whatever your whatever's inside your head, you've got to push back because that's how they get you. If you do not push
Yeah.
back, they will catch you. Like that's when like all this stuff in your head will ruminate because they're bullies. See, they're like
I get.
nangidhat.
I mean, is it about control though? It's not. It's not necessarily about control, right? You don't have to be in
No,
control of everything, right?
no, no, I don't have to be in control of anything. It's more of I've told you. It's
It's more of
just like
awareness.
I'm
It's more of
yeah,
awareness.
yeah, like when I'm talking to myself.
Yeah. No, no. I
I
mean,
know
like
it's
these things that go through our heads. It's like you have to be aware of what that is, how to approach it, and that's what that book was
yeah,
telling us
because
about. Right? I
well
haven't read it
because
yet, but
this book focuses mainly on intrusive thoughts, and because some people like struggle with it, and there are so many
if
types
you
of
were
intrusive
busy,
thoughts.
would you still have those intrusive thoughts entering your
No,
head? No.
that's my whole point. Like because I told my wife about this. Like that's why a lot of people in the Philippines don't go through mental health problems because we are a very happy type of people.
Yeah. There's
We
always
always
somebody to talk to.
yes, we
Always
are
something to
always
do.
together. We are always in a group. I cannot be at the mall without Master Yoda. I'm
But you know
always with
what?
Master Yoda.
You know what?
Then I see
I
you at
think
the station. I see Joe
it's
Fisher.
also it's your personality too, man. You're just that kind of person. I mean, we've had this talk before. Like you're I mean, your wife would tell me you could be at the airport and you can approach strangers and have a 20-minute
Right,
conversation
right,
with random strangers. That's that's you. Your personality, your being requires that kind of activity and kind of environment. I'm the type of person, dude. Like I could live in Japan in a little room and I will just like on my own and I could just go to Akihabara and like update myself in the animes or whatever video games and I would find I could exist for years in that kind of environment. So I think I'm not saying I'm mentally stronger than you, but I'm also probably the type of person where if you put me in a house full of people, then I would get stressed out and I would have a mental breakdown because then it's the opposite for me. And I think the common thing that we have is that we're both expressive verbally. And but my only excuses and my only advantage over you is that yeah, I'm talkative as heck like you too. Yeah, I express myself verbally and I communicate more talking than writing. I don't write. I'm not a good writer. So we're both on the same boat in that. But even if I don't have anybody to converse with, I can play the guitar. I have that outlet. I can play video games. That's why I was telling you, dude, learn to play video games, but you can't. You need to be talking to people. So you're more of like you know where your happy place is, and sadly, it's not currently there. At least not in bulk because it's very limited that you get to interact with people regularly and have conversations with them. But with me, it's like even if I don't like have conversations regularly, like when I went to the States and stayed there for how many months, or for like how long did I stay there? Maybe just a month, but still, I was able to exist and survive despite the absence of my family. I mean, having a kid, my wife, and I got used to that. I was able to survive because I was able to turn on my loner switch, which I have. And you see me at a bar, I'm a party person, but I get sick of that real quick. Like I get
mhm,
sick of that real quick. Like I'd invite people in my house, but like I'd be like there'd be a time when like I don't want to kick them out of the house already because I just want to be alone and read. I don't know if that's a glitch in my system, but that's the advantage I have over you in terms of living in a lonely or alone situation. I can survive probably longer than you because you're always a people person, and I've seen that in you. We've had this talk. You're that type of person where you don't need a lot of the luxuries in life. You have somebody to talk to, you're good, right? You have a lot of
Mm.
people you can share your life with, you're good,
But not necessarily,
you
because I
know.
have my wife to talk to, but that's not even enough. It's always
But
like
it's
I
not always
have
a
to
fresh
have.
experience. It's not always a
Yes,
fresh experience,
yes. So that's
right?
that's where the problem lies, right? I
Right? It's
love
not
talking to my
always a
wife,
fresh experience
right? So
because you're
it's
always
more of
together. I mean, yeah,
so
yeah. I mean,
that's
like you
yeah,
talk to me, we have a
the
different
difference,
chemistry, right?
right?
Like our conversation is different. Your conversation with your sister is different. Your conversation with your other friends are different, and you need all of that. You need
Hmm.
all of that,
I
right?
think so, yeah.
You need all of.
Because
Yeah,
some
but
people go through stuff because there's just not enough going on in their lives. I think like some people go through that because and I think the case with me is the same thing. Like me and
yeah,
Master Yoda were always on the same page. It's always like, dude, we got to get out. We've got to get to see more people out there. We've got to meet more people out there
you
to
but
like
look at the bigger picture, man. You're in a first world country. You just purchased yourself a home. You you have a daughter that's quite a handful to take care of,
yeah,
dude. You
yeah,
have way more
true,
than what you think
true.
you can
But
handle.
then when you
Right?
struggle with your mental health, you will like, oh, these all these things will mean nothing if you're struggling inside your head. That's because that's the most like
Oh
see
man, you're
the
too
most
smart for your own good.
the most difficult like how do you say that a mind is a terrible thing to lose, right?
It is.
And that is the
It is.
most yeah, I think that's the one of the most um how do you call it, like life changing experience for me, like getting hit with that
Yeah.
sort of like particular issue. And even my wife was like, "Oh, I never thought you'd have that because you're the last person in the world that I would thought would have that sort of
Yeah.
anxiety."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
me too, me too." I never know. I never thought that something would get me because I never really cared. But then the most important thing in my life right now is my daughter. That's what got me because there's
Yeah.
something that I value a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
But
what hit
you
me
know
because
what's
like that's what
but
scares you,
you know what's what's great about it though is that
right?
you found out about it.
I know, and
You
I
you
and
you,
I
you discovered that. You realized
yeah,
it, you
and
know?
the good part was I could tell my wife about it because these are scary things to talk about. I mean, if you have a person who doesn't understand you or knows who you are, they might like, oh wow, that's kind of like disturbing, and But then my wife was just like, and I told her about all the things that I've read and whatnot, and she understood, and she didn't even tell her parents about it, but I told my parents. I told my mom, my parent, and I told my sister about it. And my sister was like, "Why don't you like do counseling online or whatever?" But I was like, "All right, no, I'm reading this book, and I think it's helping me." And the first thing I think is you have got to accept and admit that you have an issue, and
Yeah.
you do not run away from it.
You don't have to take
You have
meds
to
for it though to calm you down, though, right? I mean,
no.
are
If
you
I
you
went
prescribed
in a
meds?
clinic,
Can you
they
sleep
would
at
probably
night?
give
Do you
you.
need sleeping pills?
No, I
Do you need
mean
sleep?
these medicines would help you. Okay, the medicines will, from what I understood, the medicines will help you with your reaction to your, whatever you're going through. If you're bipolar or whatever, the medicines would calm you down. The things are still in your head, but your reaction to it would just be like,
Okay. Okay. All right.
so, and I
Yeah.
don't
It will
want
numb
that.
your body, but not your mind.
Yes, not your mind. It's still there. So
Yeah.
so in other words, it's still not doing the trick. You're still not getting away from it. So every time you have that panic attack, you just drink medicine to just like, and I don't want that. So
Yeah.
that's why other people like would prefer therapy, like talking to somebody because it helps them, and it's a better way of
Yeah.
like because it's training your brain again, rewiring your brain again on how to react on
Is
things.
it hereditary? Can you? Is
It
there a
is. It
family
is.
history?
Yeah,
You have a
because
family
like I'm
history?
OCD. My sister's OCD. My grandmother's OCD. My
Okay.
auntie went through the same thing. So if it's in the family, if it's in your genes, you're most likely to suffer from that. So right, it is true. So that's not even a question anymore. It's like, oh, my grandmother went through it. She had like issues back then, and my auntie had issues. So like it will get. So some people probably don't know this, but um like OCD or intrusive thoughts is something that like you can't. It's a common thing.
Yeah.
It's like a cold. Anybody can catch it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why like the book focuses on, you do not have to feel bad about it, because they just enumerated there the things that people think about, and you don't have to feel guilty because are not you are not who you think you are. Oh, I'm a
Is it
pedophile. You might start thinking that, or I'm probably a
that
psycho, or
has it gotten to
I'm
a
a
point where
rapist. Yeah,
it was overwhelming for you? Like it was more
dude,
powerful
I told you
than
it
you?
was. Yeah, I told
Like
you
to
this
the
was
point where
about.
it was more over, like it was more powerful than you? Like
I told you, my daughter told my wife that, oh, I want my real, like I miss Papa, and my wife is just like, your Papa's just right over there, like he's always with us, and she said like, no, I want my real Papa, because that changed me. I was
yeah.
trying to avoid my daughter. I was trying to, like not be with her physically. I was trying to
Yeah.
stay away from her
So
as far as possible.
she sensed like a
She
different
noticed
person
that.
basically.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
sensed that because I would like have, my heartbeat would beat really fast, and I would have like panic attacks. Can't breathe and whatnot. But then when I started reading the book, it was like, all right, the more you run away from it, the more you're giving it power. The more you're
Yeah, yeah,
giving
yeah.
it,
I agree.
they don't have power. These things are in your
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
They Whatever happens in your head stays in your head,
Because
and
like
that's fine.
you're still
You do
totally
not react to it.
functional. Like you give me advice. Like I remember when we had that talk about my fears and stuff, and you're like you put things
Right.
into perspective, and I'm like, dang, you're like, how can somebody just figure it out like that? But then you're actually dealing with your own demons, and
Yeah,
it's even
because
deeper
it's
than probably what I've
yeah.
gone through. 'Cause, you know,
And from the different like stuff that I listen to, it says like it's different for every people. Like it doesn't mean that your struggle is easier than mine. No, it's not. But I can readily say that, oh, I wish I could like trade it with you, because that seems to be so easy. Like I
yeah,
never thought of like, I was never scared that Snow Chang or Snow would probably be run over by a truck somewhere.
yeah.
I would just let her like, all right, go around the block,
Is
and
there
I'd be
anything that
waiting at my
relieves it?
gate.
Is there anything that I mean? Have you figured out anything that you can do to lessen uh, not the attacks. I mean, I don't know if it's you consider it as an attack, but just to sort of calm your thoughts a little bit. Is there anything that you do, like you maybe watch a movie, read a book? Well, you said talking to yourself, that helps.
Right, right. But
'Cause-
sometimes what, like I've been trying to avoid movies too, because sometimes these violent movies scares
yeah,
me.
they trigger. Yeah,
It
yeah,
becomes a trigger.
yeah.
But then it says on the book that, well, you have got to think that these movies are not real. These are written by really creative people,
Does it have any
right?
connection whatsoever in the head trauma you experienced? You think
No, this has nothing to do with that. Like,
some of you have had
dude,
that
that was
even
like,
before?
dude, that was no, no. I never had that. Look, that's the point. The trauma was like 10 years ago. It only
Okay,
happened
this
this
one
year.
just recent.
So
This one,
yeah,
yeah,
so it should have, if that has something to do with my head trauma, it should have started back then. But I
that's
didn't have
true.
any issues up until this year when the pandemic started and everything went to chaos. Like everything just locked down, locked down, locked down. No more
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
basketball, no more meeting
Yeah.
people, no more going
Yeah,
out in the city.
that's why my dad checks up on me too. My dad's like, and that's why like like I try to like I have situations too. Like I haven't had events, I haven't, been doing anything, whatever. I haven't been going out socializing with my friends. My friends are drinking right now, hanging well, I shouldn't say drinking because there's liquor ban, but they're hanging out at a friend's house right now and I can't even like join them. And that would kind of be helpful for me, to just talk to other people and get other people's perspectives once in a while. But then again, I have you, so you come from a different perspective. But then my dad called me up and he's like, "Hey, I know you guys are going through cabin fever. The kids must be, and then it's like it woke me up, and I'm like, I don't even have time to be worrying about how it's affecting me. I have my kids here. I mean, can you imagine Raj not being able to see his friends and not being able to go through normal school and not get going to? I mean, you're a kid. Like he's missing out a couple of years of his childhood, man. He literally like when
Mm.
he talks about him being 8 years old or 9 years old or 10 years old, like he was just at home. I mean, I mean, even back then we weren't. It wasn't that bad for us, and I can just imagine like 2 years of his childhood has already been taken from him of socializing with friends, of being in a normal school, of seeing going out and having fun, or maybe on a vacation. And why would I even be self-centered to be thinking about like what I'm going through? So I kind of have to be strong for him, And my son
Yeah,
Diego, he's still growing
but
up
you have to be
normally.
careful too. You have to be careful too because even though you have a point, because they're kids, right? They're
Yeah,
kids and they're young, and you have to consider how they feel. But then you have to love yourself. That's what the therapists always say. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. You have got to love yourself above everything else because
yeah,
that would help you keep your mind sane and would
yeah,
keep you, like keep you 100%.
yeah.
Like I know it's good to worry about
Well,
your kids
well,
because that's what
I
we're
figured
supposed to
that one
do as
out too.
parents.
I figured
You
that
have
one
got to
out too,
love
and
yourself.
I've
You have got to give
become
time for yourself.
I'm certain of it. Like I figured that one out too. I mean, if I love myself, it's doing things that will make me happy and it will give me peace of mind, right? And give rest to my heart and my mind. And knowing that my kid's happy brings me that. So then that's loving myself. Like I don't feel like it's taking anything away from me if I know my kid's happy or is in a good place. So for me, that's my form of it's one way of loving myself is that, you know, making my kid happy because obviously that's a role that I can play that my dad wasn't able to play during my childhood. And so for me, it brings me extra, it's like, oh, I can do this. Like I can do this. It's not that hard to work, Um and because I don't feel like maybe if it's for your significant other, maybe you feel like maybe it's taking away from you a little bit. If you feel like you're bending your back for your girlfriend or your wife or whatever. But I think it's like if it's for your kid, um he doesn't ask for too much, and I just feel like I kind of have to be strong for him and kind of be a little more patient, because if I'm feeling it, just imagine a kid feeling it. And it kind of gives you a purpose too, because sometimes that's why we think too much, is that because we're lacking in purpose. We feel like we're lacking in purpose, and well, you feel like you're no
Yeah.
longer at that state where you were at your prime, and we feel
Yeah,
like,
but
okay, this is it for
sometimes
me.
we feel guilty.
Is it midlife
Um,
crisis yet? No. Have you
I
gone
don't
through it?
know. It could be no, probably not yet.
Have you
This is a
entertained the thought
different
that
what like
that we're
midlife.
have
What?
you entertained the thought that, I mean, dude, I'm gonna be like 50 in like a couple of years, and I'm like, crap, on the decline,
See,
dude.
but
I have
I
like
don't
what 20
see
years
these
left in
things
this
don't
world?
worry. These things don't worry me. These things
Are
don't
you
scare me.
kidding?
So
20
that's the
years?
thing.
Like in
Like
10 years,
well,
I'm a senior
that's the
citizen. What's
thing.
going
See,
on here?
it's different for all people, right? So me, it doesn't really bother me. Like, what I'm gonna be 50, like whatever. Like we all get to that stage, and yeah, when I get there, I get there. Like now, I'm in my 40s now. Everything's good, right? I mean, we're like in a different stage in our lives, and there's a different phase right now. But nothing really bothered me except for this just one thing. This is the only thing that bothered me. My daughter and hurting my daughter. Me
Yeah,
physically hurting her is what
yeah,
bothers me.
yeah,
Nothing else. I'm not
yeah.
bothered like physically hurting my wife or something, like I mean I could think that too, but it
She
doesn't
could
bother me.
defend
It doesn't
herself.
creep up on me, right? But if it's
Yeah,
about my daughter, that's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And like I would shake before I would like, oh, I would,
yeah, but
but
you
now
would think about it.
I've accepted that. Like, all right, fine. Like, like yeah, I will do that. Yeah, probably. Because it's more of like
Yeah,
you have to accept that. You cannot fight it in your head because you're really gonna have a hard time. Your
yeah.
reaction to it, you would
Well, this
feel
is
like the tingling in your
this is an
hands.
entire topic altogether, and an entire episode we can devote to
Yeah,
that.
we've been
Like
wrapping it up
mental
for
health.
40
I don't know
minutes
how we,
now.
we can we can phrase out the title. Maybe mental health. Maybe like dealing with the demons inside. Because I mean, a lot of Filipinos don't really stop and think about these things.
Maybe we should guess.
Um,
All right, maybe we should find a psychologist as a guest or a psychiatrist. Do you know
you
anybody
would
at
probably
home?
know one more than I would. Like I'm in the
Well, yeah,
Philippines,
I
man.
don't
There's
know.
not very many of them here. There's
No,
many
they're
of
like
them, but
no.
they're
There's
out of
lots of
jobs.
them.
They're probably just
Hang
teachers.
on. All right. Maybe I should ask my sister if she knows
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah. She's taking up
and maybe we
law.
can have
A
them on the
lot of
show.
law students are psychologists,
All right.
or graduates.
Because this could be like, yeah, this could be a really good topic. Because yeah, it really helped me a lot. That book really
Yeah,
helped me a lot.
yeah.
And
Well, hang in there, man.
whatever the
I mean,
case may be, if there are people like listening or who would ever be, like at some point somebody would watch this, like it really helps when you would tell somebody about what you're going through. Like no
yeah,
matter what's in your head, you have got to tell someone
yes.
because maybe you're feeling like, oh, this is so disturbing.
They
I
might
can't
not
even.
get it. They might not get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's I can't even like I can't even tell myself. I can't even believe that I'm thinking it myself.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
you have got to tell somebody,
yeah,
and because that's the most important thing. That it's not that bad. Like
yeah,
that's whatever it's in your head right now. It's not true.
yeah.
Because some people
The
like
most important
yeah,
thing is
like
acceptance. That's
Mm,
basically it. That you accept it, you don't deny it, and you don't try to
yeah, because
dismiss
they're
it.
always like, because there are always things that, like, one book I was like, all right, because you're like, for example, like, um oh, like, just the thought of, oh, I'm so scared, I might, I might do this thing,
Yeah,
I might rob a bank at some point, right? Or I might just, yeah, I might rob a bank at some point, like, you have this, thought in you, the urge and whatever, and you're like so scared, like, no, I don't want to, like, I don't want to go near a bank or whatever, I don't want to even like see a bank or whatever. But then you have to ask yourself, like, how many times have you tried to rob a bank in your life?
yeah,
Like, none. All right. So see, that's like out of the question. Like, how
yeah.
many times have you ever tried to rob your neighbors? Like, you never done that. Like, so that's, how many times have you ever robbed your family or whatever? Did you ever steal something? Then, like, well, not those scoop it. That's a different story. But I mean, literally, like stealing something. Like, no, I didn't. So yeah,
But
exactly. So
great
see,
things start from small beginnings, Iceman.
see, see, that's what's
You start
happening.
a
If
scoop it, and then it
see,
becomes a
yeah,
bank
see,
heist.
that's what the book said as well. If you start arguing with yourself, that's what's going to happen, because that's what you're going to say to yourself.
Yeah,
Yourself would say that to you. But yeah, you remember this one time you got money from your mom in her wallet? Yeah, that starts from it. But then, and then you start arguing with it, like, yeah, and that's what catches you, because you start arguing with it, it will never leave your head, because you already
yeah,
started arguing with it. But if you just like, yeah, probably I'm gonna rob it tomorrow, yeah, yeah, I will, I'll get a gun, I'll find a gun somewhere, and then it just disappears, because like the OCD thought, the intrusive thought, loses its power, because your reaction to it is not like, oh, I'm so scared. The more scared you become, the more anxious you become, the more power it has over you,
yeah. It's
right?
like,
So,
dude, it's like fear. It's like if you hear a noise, right? The
mm,
more you start thinking, could that be a manananggal? Could that be a,
right,
then it gets blown up, and before you know it, you're having sweats already, and you can't sleep. You're
yes,
all, for all you know, it's just the picking tabo that fell.
or the RAT, or the
Or the
RAT.
RAT or whatever. But then it starts to grow. And yeah, all right. Anyways, yeah, we'll have this. We'll definitely have this. Good
Okay,
luck trying to up.
yeah, it's
Good luck trying
all
to
right.
upload
Hang
this
on, like,
3 hour show. I mean, it's gonna be like
hang on.
10 million gigs.
I'm gonna send it to Jong. Jong, this is a really good book. I have this on my
Yeah, it
Kindle.
is.
Hang on.
It's a good book. I think I checked it. I don't know if I downloaded the sample copy of it. I saw it on.
Okay. Before we go, I have to like find this, and okay, here. It's on my Kindle. It's no, 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 no. All right. Okay. It's all right. Where it is? Where is it? Where is it? Okay.
Overcoming unwanted intrusive thoughts.
Yes, Overcoming
Yeah, that's
Unwanted
the one.
Intrusive Thoughts by Sally Winston. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. I'm gonna just. All right. Yeah. This will help your friend, John. This will help your friend. It helped me a lot, because I was like in a place where it was like, this was just like last March, February, March. It was like really serious. Right.
Yeah. It's this
It's
one.
it's yeah, 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 that one, that one.
Daily Stoic.
Because
All right, I'll check that out.
like I literally was avoiding my daughter. I would pick her up, then I would just like leave her in one room. Like I would leave her in the living room. I would be in my room, or I would come up here and just like, because I was so scared, and it went on for weeks. And my wife was just like, and it's a good thing that I've seen this like
John, is it this
uh
one? The Daily
what's that,
Stoic.
like, yeah, that one,
Yeah, yeah. It's
I should check that out.
meditation and
It's
stuff.
probably
Wisdom,
meditation stuff. Yeah, I'm
perseverance,
reading
art of
like
living.
different books now, but that really helped me a lot. That one, like, if you have a friend who's going through something, and like he's got these like all these intrusive thoughts, because it's different. Like, you might think you're a killer, you might think you're a pedophile, you might think you're like a sex addict, you might think
Yeah.
like you're all these things, but you're not.
And
So
for those
you
who are
like
too lazy to read, remember you can always download it as an audio file.
audiobook, yeah, audio
Yeah, audio
file, it's
file.
all
Just a
there.
video file as an audio file. As an audio book.
And an audiobook, right? So
An
it's
audio
it's
file is
all
someone who
there,
likes.
all right, not just
Yeah.
like it's like it's either you're thinking of like hurting yourself or hurting other people, or you're like health freak, like you don't want to touch things because it's too dirty, like all these things that's in there. Afraid
I'm
of getting
OCD,
sick.
man. I know this. I've accepted that fact. I'm OCD. I just have my way of
So
dealing with it, but I'm OCD. I mean,
it's a
I
really
am.
good book.
Even at work, at the station, I have my like when I sit down, I'm always like, this has to be here, this has to be here. I turn on certain like sites and I don't even use them on the show. It's just habitual. It's just like, okay, I'll
It
open this,
has
I'll
to
open
be
this. And I
there,
never even get
right?
to read any of that stuff. Like it's just there.
Right.
Like it's just that. It's just
It has to
habitual.
be there, or else my
It's,
show will
yeah,
go,
that's just how it is. Like I have my
will
way
go
of doing it.
bonkers. Yeah. Well,
I
I hope
accept
your
to do
friend
the same.
gets, like gets better. I hope it helps your friend, because yeah, I know this. Like I've had friends who like in the past years who took their lives, who took their own lives, and it was like really sad. So I brought it up to I brought it up with my wife, and I was like, maybe they were going through something like that. They just couldn't tell other people what they were going through, because for them they think that it's really disturbing that they can't even share it, and they get tired of it, because from all the other things that I've seen this like video of a
You should think
foundation,
about that.
like the foundation had like this thing that
What?
I don't know if it started that way
Sige, sige.
because of this guy, but you know he was about to take his life because he was just like tired of fighting with his thoughts. He was not fighting with somebody literally, it's just like in his head, because he was like thinking
That's the
that,
worst enemy, man.
yeah,
That's the
exactly,
worst
because
enemy.
his
Yourself.
intrusive thought was like killing people. That was his intrusive thought, like, oh, I'm gonna kill people, I'm gonna kill people. So he stopped going out of his house, out of his room. He would bring handcuffs all the time in his pocket, so that when he gets that whatever, like attack, like panic attack, he would just like cuff himself or whatever. So he got tired of it, and he just tried to jump off a train or something. But then thankfully, like he didn't that night, and he just went home and to his wife, and he was just crying and whatever, and the wife thought that he was having an affair. But then when he started talking about his intrusive thought, and they seek like they seeked help, and he went through therapy and whatnot, so he got better. But he was so close of taking his own life, because he was just so tired fighting over it, like it's in his head constantly, and it just
Dude, that's
he
exhausting.
yeah, it's exhausting,
It's a
because
it's
like
a
he
battle.
thought he
You're in
was.
constant battle with yourself that is exhausting.
And it doesn't help if you have these things on Netflix that's like, oh, like the serial
Yeah.
killer stuff and whatever, and you start thinking like, oh,
Yeah.
am I a serial killer? You're not.
I mean,
No, you're not.
lucky for myself and John, we have the guitar. I mean, the thing with the guitar, like I play video games. It's more of like just an outlet for because it's not. It used to be an outlet for creativity. Like what I used to do with video games is like that's why I like to play a lot of sports games. I would create my fictional players. Like there's always a create a player mode in NBA Live or in FIFA or whatever, and I would create my virtual soccer team, make up fictional names, and that. But now I don't have the time to do that because like everything's preset now. So I just play it and I just like play pretend games of teams. Like I would bring my Washington Wizards to the NBA Finals, and that's the only way I could do it is through playing it on the PlayStation. But the guitar is different because the guitar kind of like even if you know there are times when I play the guitar and I close my eyes, like and I know John can relate to that. Like you close your eyes and you just and even if I'm not the best guitar player in the world, there's an expression there that it's like I told you, it's like the spiritual side where you need a pillow to lie down on. And sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes it's not the gratification of buying something. Some people deal with it by eating food that they like to eat. But
Mhm.
sometimes when none of that is the answer to what you're seeking, that's why I create the spiritual side, which is like I said, which is the side that like that it's the gap that can't be filled by food, by
Mhm.
material things, by other people, by experiences, and you kind of just have to believe in it or create it within you. It doesn't have to be something that someone put in. And with you, man, I know you go through a lot of stress just dealing with that situation that you've got. I mean, I'm os- I'm obsessive compulsive. I'm OCD. That's for sure. I don't need to be diagnosed for that. I know it within myself, but I can still manage it. It's manageable. So just make sure that whatever state you're in, you know, you you're you can manage it. And it's a good thing you have a support system there. You have your family, man, so you're good. All right, well, we'll devote an episode to this. All right, that's for sure.
Right.
And you'd be we hope people will participate because, like I said, in the Philippines, it's almost like a taboo to talk about mental health. It's almost a taboo to talk about emotional stuff because you know you don't realize that until you become maybe an OFW and you're alone in the Middle East and you're freaking out and you're thinking, "This I never felt this," and you're thinking, I miss my family," and it might not even be that. It might be that you've had that issue all along. You were just too preoccupied here in the Philippines to encounter it and have that time to actually realize it. And then now that you have time to isolate yourself, that's when it surfaces and it's
All right.
gained its
Okay.
strength.
We'll find a health
Right?
professional that can help us with
We
this
will, we
one.
will.
'Cause
We'll
I'm
have we'll
like,
have one, and then we'll see if we can
right,
have that like as our next episode. 'Cause that's
3 hour show.
a good topic. Yeah. All right. Well, we gotta go for sure.
Yeah, it takes a toll, yeah, because like we were not doing it on the weekday. It was like, all right, let's do it, like
We
longer
made
hours.
up for it. We made up for it. We
We
literally
made
like
up for
did
it,
the whole
yeah.
3 episodes. We still did the whole 3 episodes in one show.
But I think
Like,
what we're doing, like the recording, is like it's really good because I've been like editing some of the stuff there. It's like it's really good. Like you can edit it, so I'm editing some of the
yeah, you can
things
make it
at least.
clean, right? You can make it clean. You can
Yeah,
make it
making it
like
clean.
sound
At least on my
professional.
on my because there's like just so many stuff that I needed to clean up on my part. So
Yeah.
I think it would be a really good one
So
when
people,
we
next
upload it.
next time you judge outgoing, talkative party people like us, who you think these guys don't have problems in the world or whatever, this might be our way of dealing with it. This might be
Yes, yes,
this
so
might be our
true,
therapy.
so true.
Uh, it might not even be because we're getting paid or it's because it's more rewarding for us than it's rewarding for you. But it
Mhm.
would be great if it's also rewarding to some people out there. So if you guys are, I know a lot of you are going through, no friends who we're going through mental health issues. Let Tell them that they're not alone, man. Like, there are
Yes,
people out there who are
yes,
going through that, right? I have a
yeah,
sister who's going through it. I have a sister who has that issue. So I totally get it. And the most that you can
yeah.
do is
Whatever you
just
go through, you have got to find somebody to talk to, all right? And you just have to say it. You just have to tell somebody. You don't have to keep it to yourself. Don't do
yeah,
that. Like like, just find somebody. And if you can't
find
find
somebody.
somebody, talk to me because
Start a
I'm open.
podcast.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
won't judge
Iceman
you. I'm
will
not
always be
judge.
there. Trust me. All
Yeah,
right. So
I'm that
we'll
person. All
we'll
right, we'll
see you
see
guys
you
on
next week.
Monday, or we'll post something on the
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah, okay, yeah.
and
We're
then
doing
we'll
podcasts
have the
now,
video
so
again on Saturday.
yeah, we'll have the live thing on Saturday. So thanks a lot for joining us, Gab and John. Up until the end, thank you so much. This has been the OK Show, Iceman,
Rod Rodriguez.
and we are out.
I am running out of excuses.